Viewers of the we are back for Weekendwage, lads. I hope you are all having a wonderful time and that the week has been good to you and that the weekend is about to be even better because we're going to be seeing some competition soon. I wanted to show you guys the bracket here for our Weekendwage real quick. As you can see, 9 soldiers have reported for duty, including Zeke, now back to playing Zerg from his little stint as Protoss last Weekendwage. He awaits the winner of this ZVZ, George versus Thunder Slabs. Thunder hasn't reported in, might be a DQ, in which case George will come back to competition after his noob tournament performance, which, you know, shocked a lot of people. It was pretty cool. Topped his group in the Alexander after party and all of that. Only now he's got to deal with Zeke, so light work, of course. We also have Hanmano duking it out with Grass Eater right now. And over down in the lower section, or the second half of the bracket, we have Arbuz versus Kutyam and Hamster versus Villia. So looking forward to that. We're going to be following the Hamster match right now because, as mentioned before, Thunder Slaps did not report in. And looks like we have a couple of matches already reporting in terms of their results. So I'm going to go ahead and fill those out, but not reveal them yet. And yeah. We'll see about that one as time goes on. Just keeping the bracket filled up so people know what's going on.
I am a hero!
Now I'm going to ask our players if they are ready, and then we will begin our journey together. Chumbecca, thank you for being a hero. I hope you are doing well. And yeah, we're just going to... Looks like we are indeed. Everything is good to go. So we're going to start off here. We're actually going to be starting off without an overlay, because believe it or not, I did kind of get pranked. And by pranked, I mean I did kind of forget to do the overlay part of the prep. I wasn't sure we would actually have this event because we didn't have that many signups. And then, of course, everybody decided to pile in at the very last moment. So while I'm getting my overlay ready, I will... Oh.
I'm a hero, too.
You are a hero, too, Lucy. Thank you for the Prime sub and for putting Tasteless in everybody's minds. Zerg here. Vilius is not Zerg here. Vilius is our, looks like a little Dark Sapphire here in terms of his Terran color action in the top left of Crisis Vector. Hamster's map pick as the Deep Periwinkle Zerg looms. Seed number 2, only behind Zeke. And when they play, there's always fireworks. So maybe we'll see that matchup later today. I would say the odds are with us for that one. So let's see what we can pull together here as we see the Larvosk opener and the bio from Vilius. Now this isn't a foregone conclusion that you're going to see bio, by the way. It's not always just a guarantee that that ends up happening. Some of the times you'll end up with mech opens. Some of the times you'll end up with maybe more of a, you know, light bio play, like 1 stockade expand, and then try to use that 2 base timing to get a really good set of eco. But Vilius, a grinder, is going to be using some strategy that clearly he's got some practice with. There are a lot of Zergs. It's worth pointing out. We have a lot of Zergs in Cosmonarchy these days, and so I feel like he should have pretty good practice here. But we'll see. Stamina Maverick across the map. He's not just scouting with that. His Mason is arriving, and the pool is a little bit under halfway done as we get into the action here. If you want to call workers nibbling at each other action, anyway. Looks like he's going to continue trying to heckle. Now, Masons are kind of tanky boys, so this is something that you could be, you know, in theory, if you're really, really lackadaisical with it and you're not paying too close attention, you could be in a situation where that's happening. Now, Vilius behind this isn't making Masons, isn't making units, is floating money. So, you know, it's not an empty sacrifice here. But if you can get the multitasking going, that's pretty good. And he's already popped 1 worker. Looks like he's trying to he's having a little bit of a hard time with the target selection. And he is going to need to stim again. He's applying a little bit of pressure here against Hamster. And should be able to kill another worker, especially with the fact that he can just walk right on top of that one. Oh, where's the end of this? It looks like right then and there. So 2 workers killed. If you're trying to get some kind of early shenanigans done, that can be a good thing. It's definitely not what I would immediately expect out of this matchup. I do feel like typically we end up seeing a little bit... we just end up seeing something a little bit different. I don't know how else to describe that. It's just Hamster maybe is warming up here. I actually don't know if he's been practicing or playing or any capacity earlier in the day. Sometimes it takes a little bit for the homies to assemble their roster. But he's going for that second Larvask and that expansion and a bunch of Quas. Ministry is coming up, but not on location. So Villius already kind of nodding towards the idea that he could be, heckled by some sort of aggressive play. But that's not what Hamster's doing. Hamster's electing to go a little bit more, shall we say, electing to go a little bit more towards the macro side of things. He gets his Quas up there and scouts that Cyprians have been invested. He doesn't get deep enough to see if there's a ministry that's going to be floated. And a star pad is on the way. So we know Villius isn't doing a one base all-in, but Hamster doesn't know that yet. He could probably expect that, but this is a best of one. This is against a lower ranked player. Psychologically speaking, do you worry that maybe they're trying something really fancy, really ridiculous? It is a possibility. Let's get our overlay on the screen here. Weekendwage number 13 coming at you. Thanks again for popping in for this tournament and seeing what's going on with Cosmonarchy. Got Executor in the chat, Biddy B in the chat, Shambler in the chat. Villius was in the chat earlier, but he turned the stream off when he was in the lobby. And then, Trimbecca, Lucy, Arbuz. Arbuz in the waiting room for his next match. Same for his opponent in that first match, Kutiam. We also had Grass Eater and Hanmono be playing earlier, and those matches are resolved. So we will have some more action to go into immediately. And it looks like Hamster wants to actually try to break this position. He might have pulled the trigger a little bit too early. Oh no, Hamster, how many beers? He's got a Droleth out here playing Mineral Delivery Service. Battle Droleth? Villius giving him the treatment. Never mind. Hamster is... he's still totally fine. Like, he did kind of... This is a situation where if maybe Villius tried to go for an aggressive push, he'd need to reinvest in more units, So it's not... It wasn't without sacrifice, but... He's okay. Like, he did make a round of Droleth. He's caught up in workers. He's saturating his second base. And maybe he's even going to be thinking about a third sometime soon, but with the ski back coming, I think he might be thinking about just scaling up the tech for a little bit before he goes for an extra base. And sometimes Hamster likes to delay his third, but then take his third at the same time as he takes his fourth, which is always kind of interesting. Vestriad oncoming. Villius already has some Ant Seals. I'm guessing we're going to see at least one Shaman and maybe a couple of Clerics to boost armor. Versus pool units, that can be pretty good. But Hydras are coming out, so we will see. Avaleth as well, 3 Bactylisks. Don't tell me Hamster's going to do the Bactyl drop again. All Clerics. For now. It is true that if you make 3 Shamans, you could have made 1 Atlas, so maybe there's some component there where not everybody wants to go for a lot of Shamans. There's the third base coming. On the low ground, double gas. Hamster rolls up very nicely. So he's got the worker production. And now the move-out's starting to come out, so he can specialize his larva into other tasks. Looks like a couple of his units get left behind there. He's actually done well to pull them back so that the army continues to move further away from his base, buying him more time for more larvae and more units. And perhaps Villius will be thinking about his own third base, but he didn't preemptively make the ministry, and he's floating a little bit of cash. So he's keeping with it, keeping steady. A Hydra gets rallied into death. Oh, he wants a Khaz'trith, right? Like just a forward Khaz'trith. That feels like what that's going to be for. He just didn't have the Vespian in the moment, and he isn't mining from this ridge, so is it any surprise? There are the Bactyls, and there's the Khaz'trith we were expecting. Another round of Droleth. So Hamster is really heavily focusing on the idea of using Bactyl Khaz'trith to annihilate, to shred the bio-based push here. Since there's so many targets, you get so much benefit from it. And I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up unloading another one over here and turning it into a Khaz'trith, and then, taking the 3 o'clock as his 4th base as opposed to taking 6. We do have that low ground base being taken by Villius as well, a little bit behind the 8 ball, and a Quas will guard 12 to make sure that there's no Freemason. There it is, yeah, no Freemason expand. You can't just walk up and drop the Ministry. It will be heckled. Hansel comes in for a scout. It's going to see the Zorka Shroud in production, the ski back already complete. In a way, this is not super useful info, because what are you going to do with that? You know, like, you don't really know the complexion of the army, you just know the tools that are available and the tools that are soon to be available. But he hasn't been able to scout out what the army actually looks like. A single Valkyrie being made. I wonder what Vilius is thinking about for that. Oh, look at this. Hamster's actually done pretty well about hiding his army. I don't know if this is intentional. It kind of feels like it. And now he's going to step forward and reveal it. So maybe it wasn't intentional, but it's kind of interesting that he pulled it away from the Khazitra, you know? And he's going to go for a 6 quads drop, but there's a Watchdog ready to go there. Looks like he's only going to be able to unload... Oh, he actually gets almost all of them out, so that... You know, Mason is probably going to die. We got clerics coming out to heal each other aggressively at the enemy. Try to repair chain. That was interesting. This will actually stop the Masons from dying, though, if the clerics are in the right position, funnily enough, and then buy time for reinforcement. So Hamster getting his own sort of scout of what the base looks like. Valkyrie and Anseal guarding together. Useless together in this moment. Always nice. And we do have another macro hatch coming up for Hamster, and he's pretty far forward here. A couple Hurricanes go down. Vilius' army kind of getting clumped up by this power generator. He's going to need to maybe think about blowing that open so that he can have better pathing throughout the map, and a single Quaz is still heckling him. Doesn't look like any Masons went down, besides the one that was getting attempted to be repaired earlier. Now remember, the Khazituth is a significant portion of Hamster's army strength versus this comp, but he's got a really nice setup with all those backdolls down there. The Hurricanes are trying to absorb the incoming pressure, and the Anseals are still intact in terms of their shielding. Clerics keeping the Cyprians alive for a little bit longer as well, and the Hurricane count is still holding, technically. And now that it's finally gone, all of the front line also gone for Hamster. No more Hydras, no more Quas. He is going to snipe away some Anseals. The clerics are trying to keep everybody alive, but it's just a really difficult thing to do versus all those Cyprians. With all the backdolls hitting, I think this will be a wipe in favor of Hamster, but it was pretty close up until this last little bit. The eggs, honestly, buying so much DPS sustain and time. They have 150 health, they block the Cyprian attacks. I don't think we've actually seen that dynamic in these kinds of fights, because typically we have more frontline on both sides, but Hamster went sort of sans frontline, just using shorter ranged units as the front line as opposed to actual melee. And then he used eggs that just happened to block so many Cyprian shots. Huracan Cyprian up there at 12 o'clock with an escort of Cleric, but it does feel like Vilius' army is kind of reset. He's got so much money and not able to be invested. Hamster also admittedly does have almost 2k after making 10 Zoryus, to put it into perspective there. The Valkyrie is being hunted down. His most useful asset right now. The Atlas is nearly complete, but Vilius, even though he's got a great bank, he could put down a ton of captaincies. I don't think he's got the time. I think that's the resource that he's lost right now. That one Quas at 12 also scouted out that a big portion of the army is a little bit out of position. Anchor busted open. The Anseal's a little bit slow to scramble, and the Hurricans are going to get shredded. The Clerics are frontlining, which is always a good move. And the Zoryus are coming in to reinforce just in the nick of time. Not that I think it would have even been necessary. We've got another round of Cyprians. Captaincies in vain being made. Vilius wanting to use Apostles or some kind of reclamation at the very least. But that looks like it will be a wrap. No third base allowed. And now the Natural emptied of its masonry. GG is called, and look at that. Hamster's taking the first game after just under 12 minutes. All right. So when that kind of thing happens, you definitely want to think about, you know, the backdolls are a pretty straightforward solution to the bio problem in some ways. And I do feel like the fight was pretty close, actually. It ended up working out pretty well. But yeah, it ends up going the way of Hamster. Not really too much of a surprise, just in the way of the baseline mechanics. But good on Vilius for showing us that he can hang for a little bit, you know what I mean? So it looks like Thunder will indeed be DQ'd, so Zeke is going to play George. I'm going to let Zeke host that match versus George. And we're going to default Thunderslaps down. He'll have another little bit of time here to report for duty versus Vilius. And we'll see about that. And then we'll have the winner of Vilius versus Thunderslaps, if it's Vilius that just gets... yeah, like, I think Vilius will probably just end up being graduated forward because it doesn't look like Thunder is a show. But yeah, let's see here. We are looking for... yeah, the loser of Ziki versus George will go up against Hanmano in the lower bracket. So that's how that's looking. We can go ahead and update our bracket here, which puts us at Hamster versus Arbu's best of 1. That's cool. So... here we go. Also, it looks like we have a time for another tribunal match scheduled for tomorrow, so I'm going to go ahead and post that in the admin chat to see if anybody can do that one. Serenity is selected. Okay. That's a recipe for a 6-pool, guys. That's a recipe for a 6-pool. Yeah, that Vilius, if you watch that one back, the eggs blocked so much of your DPS from the Cyprians. It was kind of brutal. All right, lads, we're going to be getting into another match here. Let's see if we end up pulling... yeah, okay. Perfect. I predicted it correctly. Although... oh, I guess my overlay was a little bit wrong there. It was saying that Hamster was Terran. Let me fix that. But yeah, so for those who don't know, Arbuz is playing as selective random, either Protoss or Zerg. And he has rolled Zerg, so this is a ZVZ. And these are 6 pools on both sides. And that is amazing. So, ladies and gentlemen, as Biddy B put it, unintentionally, but kind of funnily, humorously, 6 poop Serenity. Let's go, boys. Let's go! 6 poop Serenity! I don't know what to expect here. Both players go Quaz. No, Arbuz goes Zeth. So I think the player that goes Quaz is potentially going to get over, like, flanked or something like that. That's wild. Okay, let's see that the army movement, because if Arbuz just goes right across the map for a beeline and he sees Quaz, that's going to be kind of a problem for him. Let's see what his reactions are. Ooh, okay, only loses 1. That's not that bad. I don't think Hamster should press on, though. I feel like, game theoretically, Arbuz just takes another path into the main and kills everything. I know he's not got that much, but he's got a Circuit, actually. He's fine. He would survive defensively, and he would do like a lot of kill pressure if he went across the map. That's my opinion anyway. Circuit versus Quaz is like super one-sided fight. So let's see how it goes though. He kept his Zets here. There's a lot of Quaz. Lost all of his Zets almost. Now his own Quaz are out. Yeah, the Circuit is going to be helpful. And now the Quaz fight is won by Arbuz. Interesting. Okay, well, that ends up going the way, one Droleth was picked off. Those kinds of margins aren't stupendous at this level. Just running the other games in the background, guys. The Thunderslaps has shown up, so he was DQ'd versus George, but he is going to be facing Vilius. That's very cool. I love the macro hatch choice from Arbuz. He is obviously getting Vespene, but he doesn't really want to invest in a lot of Larvosks right now because they could just be sniped by these early game units. Let's see. He doesn't have any more Quaz in there, so he's really relying on he's got an inferior unit count right now. He's really relying on that cliff advantage. That being said, it's Hamster's unit count comparatively is just 2 Zeths, right? That's the only difference. But I think it's the right move to play the way that he's playing. He also does end up adding a Larvosk, but it's off to the side. So yeah, I mean, overall, Hamster has got the better economy, but the larva production count is also, it's tied up. And while he's going for extra Hydrith here, extra tech, I don't know. I'm expecting that this is going to come to a head soon with the composition, but we'll see what Arbuz wants to do. If he ends up adding more production and staying on pool for a little bit, that could be an interesting choice. Pops a Quaz and a Zeth, and so sort of pushing out, stretching his legs a little bit. This is where Hamster going for that extra tech is obviously going to matter a little bit. No kite backwards just yet from Arbuz. He is going to need to kind of let the enemy pursue him for a little bit while he uses the movement speed buff. Yeah, like that. So he's cutting back with that movement speed buff. He does end up thinning the herd. And again, like behind this, we got 5 Hydras being made. The Izira cores are going to be a little bit more important. There's not really any kill pressure from either side yet. But a lot is going to come down to what Arbuz ends up doing with these Zeths. I think at some point, because he's got the less assault-oriented tech with lack of Hydrith, and he doesn't have great defensive emplacements or tech, no Zoryus, no Vornath. He's going for his own Hydrith, but it's late. I kind of want to see him watch for the enemy army move out, and then send the Zeths in to harass in the same way that I was saying he could do kill pressure before. So he sees the Hydras coming. He's going to pull back to that high ground, keeping 1 Quaz out there for additional scouting, a little bit of an early warning system to confirm it's still going there. Avaleth coming for Hamster. He might be thinking about an Izira core drop, since he did make the token 3 that is required for that. In fact, where are those Izira cores? Are they with the army? Yeah, they are. Okay. Now they're going to try to storm the gates. A lot of Quaz have been made. Some Zeths as well. I would have loved like a pair of Rilla cores here, to be honest. But that's all right. Oh, good Burrow Micro for Hamster. Saves that Izira core like 4 health. Quaz not really focusing. They are going to pop those last 2 the 2 frontal Izira cores, but he's only now making 4 more pairs of Quaz. His other units rallying unto death. The workers need to start fighting. And Hamster does already have a worker lead, so this is painful. Every death of a worker is painful here, and it does feel like Hamster's getting the better of him, thriving in the chaos. He's picking off so many workers, down to 10 workers right now. And he ends up scooping up his single Hydra. And he's going to unload it off to the side or whatever. But that was a painful amount of dead workers. You think about the larva. We have that 1 extra larva per 14 seconds here with this base. That's a Quaz, not a Drolla, so he's not taking that 3rd. And there's the Shroud coming down. So from here, I feel like Hamster should be able to cruise to victory. He's got his cruise control on, he's coasting. He's in an electric vehicle that is regeneratively braking and refueling as it's going down a hill. You know what I mean? That's what he's doing. Izira, of course, trying to shoo away a drop is funny. Now, Arbuz doesn't want to make Hydra right now. He wants to make a lot of IZ. That's interesting. third base is on the way for Hamster. He is going to be playing it out a little bit. Like an aggressive expansion is a little bit different in this matchup, but... Oh, wow, okay. You want to be like that? By the way, this is the updated Serenity where you can mine out these minerals to get access to that base a little bit easier. Pretty nifty. It takes 9 returns to do so for each of those mineral fields, so it's a bit of an investment. Expansion now coming for Arbuz. He's got a big chunk of Iziracore. And Hamster's teching into Zoryus with the Lakis coming. The Lakis don't even feel like they're super necessary. I think Zoryus Hydra is going to be super good versus the Iziracore. But Hamster likes his Lakis, so I'm not terribly surprised. Let's see how this one goes. The Zet's scouting that out. That's going to be a little bit spooky. Well, he's still going to go for it. Do we believe in the Iziracore? Feels like Arbuz was believing a little bit, but he ends up backing away. He has no idea, by the way, that the third base is up. Because he probably would be heckling that a little bit. But now, he's going to have to deal with that. He's down 2 bases right now, effectively. The Hydra actually ended up getting dropped out and burrowed. A lot of Iziracores coming. That's the backbone of Arbuz's army, the primary composition. The drop would be good. He needs to do some kind of guerrilla tactic here. And I'm not talking about Ape Toss, the other kind of guerrilla. Hamster setting up the Lakis containment. He's got a couple in the back, not burrowed yet. Now they are. Honestly, that Iziracore wave crushed through the front line. That was really nice, but Arbuz can't stay with fighting the Lakis. The Zoryus now relocate to the front line, and that, my friends, is a GG, sending Arbuz to the lower bracket. I'm going to need to check in with our ranked mode stuff here. Oh, of course, classic. Apparently about a 11-minute ZVZ just concluded between Zeke and George, interestingly enough, so. Alright, Zeke has taken care of business there. Okay. I told Almano to pick a map that isn't Crisis Vector, so he spelled Crisis Vector differently. Big brain. What's up, hit him up? How the hell are you, son? Amano versus George is a really I want to see that game later, but I gotta cast the upper bracket. You guys know how it is. That's my preference, especially Zeke. Come on now. All right, we don't know the map that Zeke is going to pick yet, and we are going to be seeing. Zeke versus Grass Eater. So more ZVZ action. We had a lot of Zergs sign up for this tournament. I didn't see. I don't know what that means. You are versus... Who's he up against? George. Hell yeah, living. Okay. So we are now going into a Ziki versus Grass Eater matchup here on Crisis Vector. Ziki actually hosted Patadia versus George. Oh. I don't know what's happening with the Vilius Thunderslaps game. I'm guessing it's still going on. And then the other matches that we have today in the lower bracket. Winner of Vilius Thunder will go up against Kutian. Winner of Hanmano George will go up against Arbuz. And the winner of Ziki Grass, which is what we're going to be looking at, is going up against Hamster. Let's do it, lads. I probably should have preemptively put Crisis Vector in, to be honest. It is the classic map that the pros like. Ziki, in the top left, our Hungarian pro Zerg from Starcraft 1. He is our Tyrian Purple Zerg. And in the bottom right, we have our Grass Eater going for a 6 pool. He is T Green. What's up, AOT? Hey, I appreciate you giving us advance warning and all of that. Listen, we got a lot of Zergs, okay? Just to give you guys the stats, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 9 players are Zerg, and then Arbuz is half Zerg because he's random between Zerg and Protoss. So we have 5.5 out of 9 players being Zerg. That's a lot of Zerg. So, I would be down for a 6th Zerg. Don't get me wrong, but you would have been playing ZVZ Simulator for this tournament. We've got 2 Terrans and half a Protoss. Oh, 3 Terrans actually. Hanmano, Kutiam, and Vilius. 3 Terrans and half a Protoss. What a wild sentence. We have. Yeah, we could have done that one. Oh, I guess that's true. That is true. You could have used that because there's a good amount of Zerg action in the Tribunal as well. Pool Larvosk, probably second Larvosk there for Ziki. He's still harvesting gas, and the Zeths are all. Oh, it's Quaz actually. The Quaz are leaving the building, so Ziki's going to scout with the Zeths there. I kind of feel like he's really safe versus the 6 pool. I don't know. It's not screaming. It's not screaming like high impact to me necessarily, but we'll see. I mean, especially he scouted it out pretty early. Almost has enough gas for that secondary Larvosk. I'm just making Quaz to defend now. This is a build order that's. So what Ziki did was he did like a 7 pool or 8 pool, I think. It's a little bit more. It is more aggressive for sure. It's like military minded, but it's also very safe versus 6 pool, so let's see what Grass Eater can make happen. His Quaz count is a little bit higher right now, but of course he is up against Ziki's macro right there. Not really focusing down individual units on either side, to be honest, but the health bars were starting to fall on Grass Eater's side a lot more. Ziki seemed to just happily hold that. And Grass Eater does have a slight worker lead and will continue to have that, but he has no military units right now. 1 pair of Quaz is all he's making. And he's going to add a second Kagrant so that he can make a second Larvosk. So he's down in Larva, down in military, but up in workers. And we'll see if that continues to be the case. Maybe Ziki will... he's adding 1 worker. Maybe he'll start rolling up a little bit more, going for the Ovaleth. No updates yet on the other matches that are being played right now, but just to remind you guys, Hamster awaits the winner of this ZVZ. So it will be ZVZ in the best of 3 upper final, no matter what. Not even an hour has gone by since we began this little event, and we already are nearing that upper final, as well as a good amount of the lower bracket being filled in. Obviously, there's more games when there's more players. This time we had 9 homies participating. Ziki has enough quads to threaten that position there for Grass, but it looks like he wants to wait for the Ovaleth. He might end up elevatoring. I love that Grass has a single quaz out here, just kind of out and about. I don't know if it's going to be able to anticipate this Ovaleth coming in, though. Yeah. 6 quaz leaving. And a little bit less quaz now on the low ground. There's a Circuit here, but you can attack the gas workers. You know, this is the range of it, right? So you can definitely attack the gas workers. You can attack that Larvosk and stuff. He's just kind of pulling the attention away. And then, you know, Grassy is going to need to abandon the ramp here, it feels like. So no worker casualties yet. He can fight over here. And you have a pretty good spread, actually, from Grass. Ends up keeping himself alive there pretty nicely. Now, he does pull all of the workers away at the end, but... or all of the quads, rather, away at the end. So that maneuver didn't quite work out for Zeke, but he's going for that Vornath. ZVZ is your jam, it's true. ZVZ is kind of my jam, too, I'm going to be honest. I'm never unhappy when I see a lot of Zergs, you know? There's always something kind of cheeky. That quad's made it all the way to the natural to see the natural timing. Will be cleaned up by Zeke's reinforcements. The Vornath turning into 8 Vorvs being made. And that can absolutely surround and eviscerate Grass Eater's Quaz army if it ever ends up stepping out of bounds. And another drop comes in to heckle the workers. This one should get a kill or 2. Especially since they were not pulled away from the gas. Ooh. I like to eat grass, but I like to lose gas. You know what I'm saying? 3 workers going down. Dude, you guys know that there are players who name themselves after units, you know. In my opinion, the most famous example of that is Barracks. But that's just because it's really funny to name yourself after a structure. Like, naming yourself after a unit, like Queen... or Zealot. Although Zealot's a Zerg player, so that's really funny. But you get a Shuttle. But, like, I don't know. I feel like... Oh, Barracks? Yeah, and he's going up against Nexus. Something about that's just really funny to me. I am waiting for a player to be like, my ID is... Droleth. I'll probably be waiting a while, but, you know. Just saying. I feel like that's mostly a Korean thing. I don't actually know if there's any foreign players named after... Are there any foreign players named after a unit? I don't think so. There's Eon Zerg and Oct Zerg that I'm aware of as, like... I feel like there's some player with Toss in their name. Like, that's kind of the extent of it, though. I feel like that, you know, that's it. And that's not really the same thing anyway. Now, Zeke's going to be pulling down here with a bunch of Nathracors. Zorius and Lake are present. The Vorvs are still gunning for it. The Vorvs are absolutely still gunning for it, and they have the durability to withstand small numbers of Lakis spines. Even still, though, look at the damage dealt by these guys. It's pretty absurd. And the Nathracors were not used to do anything. 1 Lakis and 1 Zorius going down. I saw a little bit of kerfluffling over there. Looks like the drop did end up getting off in the byproduct of all of this. 1 Zorius barely staying alive. I feel like if the Nats were with that fight, that actually would have gone really, really well for Zeke, funnily enough. So he pops a couple of workers, you know, another 4 workers dead, it looks like. And finally, the Ovaleth will be expunged. Oh, they weren't doing nothing. They were turning into Calculusks. I didn't even notice that the lake was being done up during all that time. I was busy watching the fight. I think I actually did see it in the production tab, but I didn't really say anything about it. All right, well, that was a very bloody fight in the middle of the map. Very satisfying. Definitely feels like Grass Eater, losing those workers at this time, slowed down any ability for him to move across the map. And when it's a reset like that, he's making a circuit over here. I don't think he noticed when those calcs flew over. And Zeke wants to wait for all 6 of them anyway. So, yeah, this is actually setting up for a, like, when you feel like you ticked every box and you crossed every T and dotted every I, and then this kind of thing flies in and you're just kind of dead about it. I mean, all of the workers are going to go down here. He's pulling his units back, but they're way too slow. And he's not even doing that because he saw this. He's doing that just out of chance. So, yeah, the circuit is going to most likely go down. You can see him trying to line it up, and he kills so many workers in the process. He is going to go after that Spraith. Cancel it shall be. 6 quads is nothing to joke about, man. The one Spraith is coming. And the natural. Workers end up getting burrowed. They're not mining. The Hydra then is going to potentially be targeted here. No, he's just going to go after the workers. I admit, this might be the first time Zeke actually sees the Agrolith, by the way. I don't think he ever knows about that, you know. There's a lot of units in Cosmonarchy, okay, guys? Yeah. Spraith is out now, so those calcs will end up kind of biting it. But he keeps all the Nats alive, so he can just remorph them if he wants to. And he is making Lyra behind it. That was a pretty crushing blow to the economy of Grass Eater. 43 workers for Zeke. Compare it to the 17 that stay alive for Grass. The Lyras are trying to hunt down the Ovaleth. Vorv is sniffing at it too. Like, sniff, sniff. Can you believe it? Don't do very well versus armored targets without like an Aethercore or something. Armor ending. More calcs are on the way, or at least a single extra calc is on the way. Lake is Zorius. Zeke's got everything he needs now to just move across the map and finish the job. Grass Eater is getting better, I will say. Hanging out with Zeke for 10 minutes and not just outright dying. This game does feel like it's pretty close to over, but he's rolled back up. You know, Zeke is going to have to play the game in order to finish it off, you know, so... This is a kind of situation where if this wasn't a tournament match, I think you'd probably take all that damage from the calcs and say GG, you know? Unless you were limit testing and practicing, trying to come back from really bad situations. But he had to spend all that time making more workers. He does not have the military that he is going to need. And the Ovaleth is here for detection this time around. Spraiths are being effective at pulling the calcs away, but now they can circle around and just attack the Lakes with the detection. There's no anti-air that can really step to them, it feels like. That one calc is going to go down. The Lake is just burrow forward. Yeah, Grass knows. He just goes ahead and types GG. He was kind of counting on Zeke not attacking anytime soon. And that, my friends, is a GG. Zeke will move on to face Hamster in a best of 3. This is one of the things we were hoping for. And yes, with George falling to Hanmano in the lower bracket, George is defeated. He got an auto win over Thunder because he wasn't there, and then lost to Zeke, and then lost to Hanmano, 2 pro players. All right, let's see if we got any other results here. Still don't have Vilius versus Thunder. Still no Vilius Thunder report. They're still locked in battle as we speak. Kind of awesome. Okay, we will go ahead and get ready for map 1. Of Zeke versus Hamster. More ZVZ. Okay. So this BO3 ZVZ is going to kick off on Near Impact. I feel like that's a map Hamster also would play. I don't know. I do remember when you were Hoop Chimbeka. All right, lads. Going into our best of 3. Players were ready immediately. Let's do it. We have, in the top left, Zeke, the red, no, blood Zerg, and Hamster, in the bottom right. Ah, damn. The turquoise? Turquoise Zerg. I really thought that would have been teal for a second. I was going to guess vanilla colors. In fact, if you didn't know Cosmonarchy had over 100 player colors, you walked in and you were like, oh, I see, it's red versus teal instead of red versus blue. That's kind of cool. You wouldn't even think, you know? There's like a billion shades of colors in all of these games. So the 8 pull is coming for Zeke, but Hamster is not 6 pulling. I think Hamster only does that every other game. He's actually doing his own 8 pull a little bit later in the trip there. Harvesting gas a little bit sooner so he can get a semi-fast Larvosk, it looks like. So that's his MO. A little bit lower on the Droleth count. We've got some very, very exciting tournament games to cast for you guys later on as well, the Tribunal stage. I'll see if I can maybe do some of that casting on Monday. I do have a day off of work on Monday, so we'll see about that. But later tonight I'm doing tabletop, so I can't do it after the Weekendwage. Much as I have been having a streamer withdrawal, I feel like I need to stream more often, you know what I mean? But you gotta do what you gotta do to pay the bills, you know what I'm saying? Still going strong. So, Larvosk for Zeke, and second Kagrant as well. Gonna be going for that second Larvosk fairly quickly. I'd say the same thing about Hamster, who's gonna have it a little bit sooner. Always such low worker count games here. Ah, just barely didn't have enough minerals for it. There it is. See, that Executor guy knows what he's talking about. Now, the Zets are coming in from Zeke just to get a little bit of a scout off. He ends up losing one. Nothing too crazy. And isn't able to get deep enough to scout much of anything. But he did see the Kagra being a little bit closer. He might know, based on that alone. But that's a moment. I love when players do this. This is intermittent lag, so this happens every now and then. And usually it passes after less than a minute. And then you have to go back to what you had your latency compensation on. There it is. Now we just set it back because it didn't matter. But that's okay. I mean, oh, it gets laggy? Set that setting higher. Maybe it'll fix the lag. It never fixes the lag. Some Zeths chasing each other around. You know, it's like when you take your dog to the park and there's another dog there. Happens all the time. Zork's Shroud on the way for Zeke. Okay, so Hamster looks like he's about ready to pick a different tech node as well, although he is instead making a third Larvosk on the one base. That's kind of interesting. But, you know, I'm looking at his money and I'm seeing that he's not actually making a lot of units. Oh, he ends up doing another round of full units, so maybe not. Cute burrow tricks there, the Quaz with very low HP. Alright. I'm seeing it. I'm feeling it. The Shroud is a little bit more than two-thirds of the way there. Avaleth coming out for Hamster, so he'll be prepared if it's Lakes first, although the gas count isn't really there for Zeke to do a lot of Lakes. Sometimes that can really bait you in, where you make like 1 or 2 and then you end up getting them popped or whatever, and they don't give you the same returns on your investment as if you had managed to scoop 4 of them. But it is going to be 2 Lakes and 1 Zorius. That's the spread right now. Third Larvosk in the making. Zeke falling back to his ramp. Hamster's got a lot of pull units. He's really heavily pushed into this. There's a bit of a timer on for how long this could help. Let's see. He's got the Quaz in a good position here, but they need to kind of scoot up that ramp a little bit more. And Zeke's units were a little bit ambulatory. They are going to be put down. That ends up being a Circuit rather than a Larvosk, and that might actually help him out just enough to get those Lakes burrowed. First one goes right down immediately. The Zorius is here to stabilize. And even though Hamster's loose in the base, his own Shroud just started. He is not going to be able to equate the tech. He is getting an expansion. He's sharking around with those quads, looking for anything that he might be able to do. Maybe he can pop those Zets at the very least. And then he scoops most of them up and starts to bring the Ovoleth further away because there's no anti-air here for Zeke. But he's got a bunch of quads coming, so I think he's okay. Hamster wants to keep up the pressure, but he lacks the tools to do so. Ovoleth's just going to continue moving around here. Zets come in. Best they can do is maybe target down like a Droleth or something in the middle of all of the hubbub. He is actually going to unload. I wonder what he's doing that for. Interesting. Well, the expand comes out for Zeke, but Hamster already has plenty of action there. Plenty of workers on both sides. Plenty for this matchup right now. Pretty big injection coming for Hamster. Now it's Zeke's turn to try to leverage a bit of a tech advantage. Remember that the Shroud was made. Only now are Shroud units being created. The minerals at a deficit here. This is where the Blood Summon announcer is yelling at Hamster, "Minerals, now!" And he's like, "Oh yeah, minerals now. Yeah, minerals now." And so he makes a bunch of worker. But the containment is starting. His own Ovoleth is kind of out of position, shall we say, being chased down by Quaz. And so, creeping forward, I mean, he's having to make another Ovoleth just in case. I feel like if I'm in Zeke's shoes, I'm thinking about, like, I'm sniffing out that you don't have your Ovoleth here. And maybe I go ahead and push forward. Indeed, Zeke's thinking the same thing. He's going to get in range and see if we can take out that circuit. Shroud unit's only now coming out for Hamster. He ends up pulling back with his one Lakes, and now here we go. Charging forward, they get that speed boost. Another one in the mineral line, going to go down here for Hamster almost immediately there. Zoryu staying somewhat alive. They are mostly dead, just about to fall apart here. But that's a good amount of mining shutdown from Zeke's positioning. I don't think he's going to be able to just straight up kill the hatch here. But it could be it's a possibility. I don't quite think so. Man, 12 HP on that Lakes really could have died. Lakes are pretty inefficient at killing each other, to be fair. Alright, so he sets up a little bit of a... It's not really a huge containment. He doesn't have anything backing it up, and he did end up losing one Lakes on the way out. Skibacked is on the way behind all of this, so Zeke is going to go ahead and tech up. Has a 6-worker lead. Hamster coming back into it, but another round of 7 Droleth on the way for Zeke anyway, so... He's going to see if he can skedaddle. Quaz can catch up and pursue, especially once they start sinking their spines into it. Down goes one of them. The Zoryu is trying to force the Quaz to reconsider their angle. A bunch of Ovoleths were made. You're pretty psycho to drop right now, but it's a possibility. Oh. What's the name? They're still in sync, so it's all good. We'll see if it comes to a head here, then it's fine, and if not, we'll see if we can cast from a POV once the action dies down. But for now, we're still fine. Actually, he is trying to crack through. Looking pretty good there for Zeke. He might actually just... It might not matter that he was what we were just talking about there. Hitting before Hamster really has time to leverage the Shroud units, and he's got a lot of Hydras coming in as well as that third base. Man, you really don't have to give Zeke much. Hamster had an advantage in the early stages of the game, and he even really tortured Zeke's positioning a little bit when he was using the that drop to constantly just keep him, aware of what's happening. But I don't know, man. This is pretty brutal for Hamster to have this advantage and then ends up losing a lot of it. GG's going to be called by Hamster. He has the last 2 Lakes alive, and that is a wrap on game 1 of that best of 3. Okay. It's nice when, it's never nice when you get a hash, but it's really nice when it's when it's the obs, because then the players have confidence that, oh, okay, that's fine. Just a momentary setback. Hamster will pick map 2, and we'll get into our next one here. Just waiting on that map selection. Dyadic Shore. I was thinking about Serenity and Dyadic Shore rotating out of Class 1. One of them, not both of them. I couldn't really tell. Like, the thing is that they give a unique sort of thing. Like, there is no other map that's like it. And that's what I was evaluating is, we've got a lot of Class 1 maps. Surely there are some that are just, like, riffs on another idea or, you know, similar enough or whatever. But you gotta calm down, dude. You gotta have, you have, like, the majority of the maps in the pool. You're fine. Like, some maps are, some maps have similar enough layouts that you could probably do without them. Both being in there, or whatever. So, we're getting into our second map here. It is Dyadic Shore. Welcome, welcome to Game 2. Bottom left of Dyadic Shore is Hamster, who selected this particular map. He is the Midnight Green Zerg. And in the top left, we have the Maroon Zerg of Ziki. Hamster will be going for a 6 pool on Dyadic Shore. Pretty short rush distance overall, I would say, but not as short as Serenity. However, Hamster could not pick Serenity as he just picked it versus Arbuz, so it's a little bit of a... He's been nerfed, boys. Been nerfed. Now, will Ziki go for his 8 pool again? There is a possibility that he ends up doing that. And so he does. This does feel pretty insulated. Hamster also went Quaz versus Arbuz when they did the 6 pool off on Serenity. So, I do feel like... See, that's just kind of funny to me. I don't know. That's just a little bit... Huh? Huh? So, is he going to go for the 4 Quaz again? Or is he going to go for Zeths and see if he can get a little bit of tempo? If he does Quaz, I really think Zeki's totally fine. And even if he goes Zeth, I still think Zeki's probably fine, but I just haven't seen that timing. You know, they train faster and they move faster, but it is going to be Quaz. So let's see what happens. Keep you guys updated on the other matches that we have going on in the background. I think, and unless I'm crazy, we still do not have Vilius. Yeah, we still do not have Vilius. Versus Thunder. So I don't know what they're up to. I don't know what kind of match they're playing. I don't know if they're just AFK or something. We do have Arbuz versus Hanmano in the lower bracket, and that is not done yet, so they are still also locked in some combat. Those are the 2 active matches other than the one that we're currently seeing unfold. Now, Ziki Zeths are going to scout out the Quaz. He's got a second Larvosk on the way. And he's got 3 pairs of Quaz coming, so I do feel like he's going to be just fine. He'll technically have 1 pair of Quaz less than his opponent, but he has 3 Zeths. He's got Defender's Advantage. He's just queued up a 4th one. So let's see how this one rocks up. Quaz pop in the Larvosk. Ooh, he definitely wants to save that if he can. Oh, and he does not save it, nor does he cancel it. It doesn't get his worker back. That is effectively a worker kill. Now he's hunting down the Quaz that are victoriously, giddily jumping back home. When you see Zeths, by the way, near your Quaz, you can actually use that to your advantage just by, like, attacking them and then running away with a faster speed boost. Not something Hamster's currently doing. Thinking about that extra K-Grint at some point here for Larvosk number 2. I say that, but he actually already had 1 K-Grint morphing, so he's going to have to put that one through pretty soon. But he has to survive Ziki's reactive attack, which, honestly, this could be over really quickly here. He's only got the 6 Quaz up. Ziki's got reasonable force in the meanwhile. Now, Hamster just hatched some more, so I think he's fine. That Larvosk is coming into fruition. Let's see. Pair of Zeths, another pair of Quaz. Yeah, Ziki doesn't have the overwhelming advantage. It would take some serious micro fluffs for this to not end super well. Ooh, that pathing. That pathing will get you, depending on where you click. So as we see the tech development, it's once again a pretty fast Shroud by Zeke. Kind of matching the same way, though. Hamster going for the same move. Faster Shroud. Much faster than in Near Impact. What is his plan? What is he thinking? Six Quas is what he's thinking. Zeth burrowed away at that natural. Doesn't see anything yet for Hamster. Avaleth of his own coming up. Probably for a drop, but maybe could be for a fake out scout or something. He's got a lot of Quas, so I'm thinking drop for that reason. But he might need him, you know? Ooh! Zeke! He doesn't find it. He wasn't on attack move, but he was canvassing looking for burrowed units, I feel like. I think that's what that was. And then the drops fly by themselves. Can you believe it? Hi. How are you? They can click on each other to see what they have, huh? Well, I mean, it's still a decision. Do I defend versus all the units moving out across the map, or do I defend the drop? And it looks like Zeke might even just be like, oh, I'm just going to link up, actually, and just boost my Quas count here. But still, there's 22 Quas versus only 20 when you unload that. So with Defender's advantage here, it's definitely not going to end well for Zeke. It feels like he's going to wait for those extra units to pop. He's got 3 Lakes on the way, plus the 2 patrolling Quas. Did the Avaleth spot those units leaving? I'm not sure. Quas drop is going to come into the main base now. It's rotated all the way around. Hamster's got his Lake is burrowed on the ramp, which is the right decision, you know, but he's going to have to do something about this drop. Zorius already wandering in. Oh, look, some unprotected Lake is. Maybe we'll go ahead and start munching on them. Instead, we're going to go after that main base, it looks like. Killing some workers mining gas and skirmishing in the meanwhile. The Zeths are coming into the main base of Zeke while he's going after this hatch. Targeting down the Larvosk. 1 burrowed Lake is not sufficient to defend that, but it does end up clearing them all in the end. And now just being behind this hatch, being annoying, being a nuisance, and the Zorius being nigh on unkillable. Those Lake is helping out quite a bit for Hamster on the defense, but we got more Quas sauntering forward. 1 Lake is for Zeke under fire. Ooh, it is going to end up getting popped, and there's a couple of burrowing from Hamster. We might end up seeing a cleanup after all, a routing at the end. But you think about it, Hamster lost 2 workers mining gas inside his main base. He traded that for a kill onto a Larvosk that's already been rebuilt. The Avaleth is dead. And he ended up losing some tempo with his hatch, which, at this point, Zeke can equate. Can't quite see if there was an Avaleth corpse anywhere here. Yeah, it does look like the Avaleth died on both sides. That's a Lakis, not an Avaleth. He's got 2 more, though. Might be thinking about a Lakis drop, actually, if you think about it. Unlike in StarCraft 1, you need an Avaleth... you need 2 Avaleths for 2 Lakes or whatever, right? Like 1 Lake is almost fills an Avaleth. You have to upgrade them at tier 2 if you want to fit more than 1 Lake is. And Irolith drops of Lake is probably pretty scary because the Irolith moves really fast. So we are going to see a 12 Quas drop instead, which could be pretty deadly. And Quas are pretty easy to come by, right? So Lake is going to move away. Drilleth standing at the gates of the double gas third base. We can call that the 10 o'clock. Oh, this map still doesn't reveal all the minerals, actually, for the witness. That's a configuration issue. Well, there's 13 Quas waiting for the Avaleths to unload their package, which is really funny. There's just 1 more. It's what you sent to me, plus 1, you know? All right, third base will be made at the more typical location. A little bit more defensive. This map is a little bit funky because you can just put like phalanx over here, right? It's kind of a by design aspect of it. Not relevant to this matchup. There's the Lakis drop. Only 1 of them, so it will take a little bit to kill the enemy. And back in, seeing, just seeing if he's still going. Hamster may have spotted that because he did move his camera over. Got more quads in the back line that he can pull away from the main base. Yeah, without like Hydras, it's really hard to kill Hatch. Maybe like Vorvs could also help, but... Alright, the lake is burrows. Will it get any good kills? 2 workers, not bad. Unlikely to get much action happening over here. Ulgorg is on the way. Oh, Gorgrakors, of course. Now, this is pretty annoying for Ziki to have to deal with. He's going to go ahead and send one Zorius over there. Can't quite go back to mining yet. And his own lake is too far away to help right now. Though, obviously, it has more HP than the enemy one, so... I think he's just going to kill them with Gorgs. I'm not entirely sure, but that's what it feels like. He still needs something to reveal the enemy, though. Yeah, he's going to use one Droleth, I guess? I don't know. What's he going to do? Oh, he's got his... Yeah, okay, that makes more sense. Okay, it's dead. The Larvask is saved. The mining returns, and the Gorgs have been scouted out. But what do you do against that? Ski-Backed already done. Bactil's coming up. Hamster wants to extend play in the series. Doesn't want to go down to the lower bracket yet. Vornath halfway complete for him. Spraith's being added. The Gorgs might just be with the army, though. They might not be used for a harassment tool. I will say they are not stupendous stewards versus air. One Qua's going to come in here and see the complexion of the army. Some of the units decolliding delays its death and gives it even more of a sightline. Those Qua's still spinning over in the bottom left main, interestingly enough. Ooh, ah, ooh, ah. Yeah, he's thinking about it again. Hamster sees it again. It's the reminder, you know. So. Ah. Ah, hey! They did it. This is why you don't stand over your burrowed units. Need to spam click them a ton to get them to decollide properly. Hamster's army is looking pretty spooky. We got some Lakes over here for crowd control. And the Ultra Cores are going to take a lot to break down. Oh no! One of them does end up going down. That's too bad. Only one Quaz ends up dying, though, so... Pretty good cost efficiency, I would say. Four more Ultra Cores get queued up. Yeah, honestly, I feel like there's a chance that the Ultra Cores just run roughshod over this army, but it really depends on how it's taken. And a lot more Lakes got made, up to 9. 2 more Zoryus, 7 pairs of Zeths. That's probably just for a run-by. Zeki's very good at run-bys later on in the game. The double gas base being taken by Hamster over at 8 o'clock. Meanwhile, Zeki has already started mining over here at his third at 11. Orthogonal bases here. The Gorgs are attacking the expansion attempt that likely to go down and be just straight up killed if Hamster isn't paying too close attention. Lake is getting a ton of crowd control. The Ultra Core's just kind of hanging out for now. They are chewing through the front line, which is very good. One Ultra Core makes it all the way to the back and almost kills a Bactyls despite all the punishment that was going his way. Oh, the Nathicores are here. The Nathicores will clean that up very easily. Base will be saved. Can we say the same thing about Zeki's position with his third base? I mean, the Bactyls are not being stepped to yet. Where are those, did those Ultras all die? It feels like they might have. An Agrolith being made by Hamster. Beautiful. No, the Ultras were sent across the map. I was like, yeah, there's no way they died. So this is still pretty spooky. The Ultra Core counterattack is not something we see every day. It would have 100% cleaned this up. So he is going to lose his third base for it. And the Zoryus are trying to beat up their bigger, bulkier cousins, and it's just not working. Oop, pranked. But the Ultra Cores are doing it. Well, the Drolets are kind of body blocking them, which is pretty cheesy. Zeki's got Quaz here as well. What the hell? This is such a ridiculous fight. Okay, they're coming out. I don't think they're going down, man. I don't think there's enough concentrated firepower to deal with this, and now Zeki's interrupting Hamster's retreat back to his main base. The Ultra Cores, the Nather Cores have been sent to try to kill them. As long as they're attacking, though, I think they out DPS and they out heal. Oh my god. Hydras are being made. Okay, the Lake is Burrow over here to clean up the hecklers. Will one of them possibly die? No! It's impossible! Oh, one of them's declining. Okay, okay, you got him. Unbelievable scenes here. Oh my god, finally another one goes down. This isn't enough, I don't think, especially if that other one comes in from the mineral line. That feels like it shouldn't have been enough, but okay. Alright. I think maybe Zeke won't be able to just breach everything, but he should be able to shut this down. Absolute scenes as the Iral Iris finishes inside Hamster's main base. He's got no money with which to use it. 67 workers for Zeke to the only 27 for Hamster as he continues to hemorrhage them in the natural. And nothing is mining over here at that third base. Utter chaos. Alekis goes down. A lot of naps have been invested in. I don't know if the Lakers will actually kill that. Because the Avaleth is here to detect, and the Nats can just kill the Lakers themselves, but 200 health is not a lot to hold on to. And there you go. Finally. There's a little bit of quietude. But we've got another base coming at 12 o'clock for Zeke. We've got more Ultra Cores. We've got Zorius. I have never seen Ultra Core counterattack while I'm being damaged. That was so ludicrous. Oh. Nathacor's spotted out some Lakers. They'll burrow and be saved. No detection here. Matravel Nest on the way for Hamster. He wants to use tech to his advantage. I don't know if he's going to be able to actually make enough units for it, though. I mean, I want to believe in the Iral Iris. Trust me. I do. Hot tamale. Spraith in the third base. Spraith coming up in the fourth base. More Zorius. More Ultra Core. More. That Agroleth died to Ultra Cores, too. He didn't even get to use it for anything. Trying to go after the Spraith before it finishes. It will end up finishing, and it will end up dying, but yeah, it might kill a unit or two. Claw's coming in. It's buying enough time. Yeah, look at that. He can't even finish it. He could have. He would have lost about the same amount of his naths, I think, but yeah, it gets pretty squirrely at the end there. You don't always want to. 4 nath completing for Zeke so he can get access to his own Nathra cores. Vilgora cores are on the way, not in a great number, and no Convi. No Matroleth, but that's to be expected. I feel like Convolus is what he would really need here. Nath's coming in. They're going to be shooed away by that Spraith. More defenses coming up, I guess. Nath scout the army. That's a lot of Ultra Cores, guys. That's a lot of Lakers, and that's a lot of Ultra Cores. Is Zeke at all thinking about tier 2? He's not got the resources for it yet, but he is floating a decent amount of SP. No, he goes for a bunch of Naths. Okay. Might be surplus to requirements here. The Vilgs are going to be helping the Ultra Cores in some way. So, feels like a dangerous choice. A lot of Lakers, though. Yeah, he's got what, 11 Lakers here? It's going to be kind of difficult. We'll keep the Ultra Cores selected so we can keep an eye on their HP. One of them's going to go down pretty quickly here. The Lakers off to the left side have already been taken care of. There's a Convolus. That's what we were expecting. Oh, you can see the Ultra Cores actually are trying to single out those Lakers. 4 of them are staying alive. Okay, one of them does pop again. And it feels like the others are going to stay alive long enough that this really will not be possible. Look, another one ended up joining the fray anyway. Hamster's army gets cleaned and GG is called. Zeke takes the 2-0. Second game, an 18-minute banger. Pretty nice, pretty nice. Okay. So, now we know. We know what's going on. We know that the 2-0 here for Zeke puts him in the grand final. Let's take a look and see if we can see any other games. After 42 minutes? A 42-minute monocyte game. Oh my god. Thunderslaps had to go. So Vilius takes the win. That must have been fucking amazing, dude. That's outrageous. Okay, I have gone ahead and updated that. Wow. I didn't expect that at all. Holy shit. Well, time to get some TVT action in us, guys, after all the ZVZ. You guys could use a TVT, right? We're going to do some best of ones in the lower bracket because 42 minutes is 42 minutes, man. I am going to take a 5-minute break, use the bathroom, grab a drink. So I will be back very soon, and we will go through the lower bracket here, starting with Kutiam versus Vilius. Then the winner of that faces Grass Eater. The winner of that faces Arbuz, and the winner of that faces Hamster, and the winner of that faces Ziki. So we got plenty of matches still to go. I'll see you guys very soon. we're back, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for some more action. Kutiam versus Vilius will begin our lower bracket coverage. Sad to say goodbye to Han Mono already, as well as George, Brave Warrior, and Thunderslaps. He could only play for 40 minutes, apparently. I don't know why he signed up, to be honest, but they had a banger game, apparently. I can't believe Vilius is updating fucking... Playing a different game in the background? What does he think this is? I'll actually sit down for this lower bracket. You know, it's the lower bracket, so I also gotta be lower. But not lower energy, boys. I was singing at my dog when I came back in. GLA chests are exchanged across all three of us as we get ready for this next match. We are... Oh. Never mind. We got one of them instant hashes, which is a classic. That's fine. I needed time to update my map overlay, or map name in the overlay. We are going to Corrosion for this particular best of one. It's TVT. I get a funny feeling about this one. I don't think this is going to take a long time, actually. I feel like this one's going to be like a 7-minute game for some. Second time's the charm here as we get into our lower bracket match. Here we are. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Vilius in the top left. He is Alice Blue, Electric Blue. And in the bottom right, we have Kutiam Supin, the Magma Terran player, TVT. Vilius said, is this the map with the stupid ramps into your second base? Unless he's talking about these, which I don't really see why they would be stupid. I have no idea what he's talking about. So he might be thinking about a different map entirely. But either way, we have gas coming from both players. Maybe he's thinking of Maxium or Maximus or whatever. I don't know. Can't remember. Don't know. Don't know, and he's didn't ask an L plus ratio or whatever the hell the kids are saying these days. Actually, that's probably already old now. So while we wait for Kutiam to return, we see that the Fulcrum is already coming. Actually, I don't know which part of Kutiam Supin is dog. Only my dog. That's what his name translates to. Also, apparently, it's supposed to be Chupin. Kutiam Chupin. Kutiam Chupan. Here you go. Here, hold on. I'll unmute my desktop audio so you guys can tell what I'm talking about. You guys ready for this?
Kutiam Chupan.
There you go. That's how you say his name. I was pretty close about Kutiam, although sometimes I would say Kutiam, which is like a mini extra syllable. There you go. I'm looking forward to not just the TVT, but the fact that one of these players will continue in the tournament. It brings me hope. It brings me joy. Because that means we'll have one more Terran player. You know? We'll at least have one more TVZ. And if the winner of this match beats Grass Eater, then we'll have another TVR, which is either P or Z. And that's a best of 3. And then, you know, after that, well, it's probably ZVZ time again. But that's okay. That's a possibility. Just, you know, you got to root for the underdog, and you also got to root for the players who are playing the races that are not very well represented anymore. Look at this guy. The real question. I want an answer to that. Stylistically, Kutiam is probably a little bit lower APM than Vilius, but Kutiam does have... He's just grinded a lot of games. Both of these players are grinders. They play infinite numbers of Cosmonarchy matches, even against the best players, even though they are not the best players. And so that ends up giving them a very solid floor to their skill level. Like, I don't typically see Vilius or Kutiam play really below their average level. And there is a strength to that, to knowing that you pretty much always perform about the same. Interesting. Tribunal stage number 5 has also been going on during this whole last week. Coming up on the final couple matches that we got to play there, so I will be casting that tournament pretty soon and getting that on the YouTube channel as per usual. And then we're going to be quiet a little bit until probably late March, maybe mid-March, depending on development. And that's when we will be pulling up the last of the updates, pulling up the last of the tribunals. And we're back! Welcome for both players. No surprises. One of them was already in there before the pause. So Corrosion is a map I actually haven't seen TVT on before, I don't think. It is still a relatively new map. But, well, maybe I have seen it. Hard to say. But I like it. That's why it's in testing for the Acropolis map pool. Basically, the final Acropolis map pool for Battlement stage and Tribunal stage will be decided. I reserve the right to change stuff for the... Excuse me. I will reserve the right to change it for, like, if I put a map in the Gauntlet stage and it just doesn't end up working or something. But probably the Gauntlets will be taken care of. Kutiam attacking the Mason brutally and relentlessly. And yeah, this is the spot where people were dropping phalanx, apparently. But it's been fixed. Oh my god. That one, the Cyclops open. This is why you make a Vulture first, guys. Don't have to delay your second Fulcrum. Very interesting. Oh, if he's just going to power... Oh, he made a Vulture second. If he was just going to make Vultures anyway. Maybe he was making a Cyclops to indicate, hey, I'm going to make a lot of Cyclops. And then now he's going to spam Vulture? I'm not entirely sure. But Kutiam's going to see what he can do over here. Could have maybe popped that mine either by shooting it or just kind of bypassed it. But he ends up leaving his own mine. He's going to send some more Vultures across. Oh, it's the Goliath build. Shh, don't tell them that, Pity Bee. It's the Goliath build, okay. So Kutiam has been experimenting with this, and I actually... Oh, he should jump on that. Nice. Very nice. He ends up hemorrhaging one anyway, but that's okay. The Goliath build is some funky little thing that Kutiam's been doing to try to push across the map. We first saw this from Nicholas. It is a little bit different with each player, and Kutiam's floating a lot of money, so he's just going to end up expanding instead of pushing across. I feel like he could, personally. You just get a Vulture at max acceleration, fly it in here. It's going to skate through at least 2 of those mines, maybe 3. And then all of a sudden you can just break through. Looks like Vilius might be setting up an anchor here. Yeah, once the anchor gets established, there's really nothing to do. Oh, it's a Cyclops drop from Vilius. I didn't even notice the star pad. I was too busy looking at the Goliath. I just like the Goliath, guys. It's nice. But yeah, there's the star pad. He's going to have a Cyclops drop out. I guess the Goliath is anti-air then. He's got mines set up for anti-drop. Yeah, he's very well insulated versus a Cyclops drop style play. clearing one of the mines. Oh no, he cleared two. There's actually only two left. One vulture very close. There's the anchor being put down a little bit later than maybe Vilius wanted it to. And he's got more vultures here, or one extra vulture with mines. No, he's got two. He's going to reset the mines at some point. These three vultures stopped moving across the map. They were probably added to a control group or something. Oh, he clears 3 mines, so I guess there's something there. That is most of the value, right? And now here comes some Cyclops to attack these Cyclops. One of them will go down on the side of Kutiam. That's a pretty good amount of chip damage onto the Cyclops of Vilius, though, it has to be said. And here comes the Goliath to clean out the Trojan. Yeah. You get hit by one more round of the Goliath, and you are dead. So, Kutiam does end up rejecting that drop. Cyclops will actually exfil so that they can still maybe do some kind of pressure while Vilius goes home to repair it. A lot of Idle Masons at this natural. And a Palladium off of 2 Fulk. Typically, we end up seeing more Fulcrums, like, you know, this. 4 Fulk Palladium, or 3 Fulk before the Palladium was put down before the 4th one was finished. We are seeing different styles come out of these 2 Terrans as we speak, as we sit here, live and breathe. And the 4 Fulk coming after, so, you know, I guess he's arriving at the same sort of thing, but, you know, it's a little bit different. A little bit different. It's kind of interesting, because Vilius and Kutiam are both players who I would say are pretty close, actually. Walks right through his own Cyclops shells. I'm just always amused when people do that. I feel like these guys are like they're like Grass Eater. They're very close to being Class 2. Like if Class 2 was 5 names deeper, those 5 names would be like Grass, Vilius, Kutiam, Thunderslaps, and maybe, I mean, Nicholas just quit, so I guess maybe not, but I don't know. That's the vibe, right? That's kind of the skill range we're talking about. Doesn't end up clearing too many mines there, unfortunately. No Anseal for him either. Now the Cyclops are going to see what they can come in here and do, but there's more defenders where that came from. And those mine connections are going to be way too bad for Vilius to be able to deal with. So, ends up losing his Cyclops. Double Phalanx drop. Oh, he's going to use the spot. I just told them it was patched out. It was psychological warfare. Is he going to drop it there? Is he going to check, or is he just going to believe me? Biddy B, did you tell him? You told him, didn't you? Ha! Ha ha! It was patched. Noob. Yeah, can't quite get to where he needs to go there. What do you mean you didn't? Oh, you swear you didn't tell him. Yeah. I was going to say you definitely patched it. So. Hey, there's a Biddy B tile. Hey, get back here. Arrest that tile. He's looking around. He's seeing what he can do. This is a really funny place to put your Trojan. Oh, can't see above the cliff. Can't see me. You can't see me. You can shell me. Yeah, the Valkyrie to shoo away the Trojan is peak, dude. That's... I fucking love this game. Anseal Scout everything. He's the army. 4 Phalanx, 4 Vulture. Oh, Goliaths are here. Ministry for number 3. For both sides is coming up. Kutiam's investing in some Wraiths, while the Atlas is coming up for Vilius, though. The Wraiths are here to kill that. Yeah, that's perfect. Wow, this Cyclops ball is actually pretty effective at dealing with these units coming up the cliff. That ended up being very costly. And actually, here comes some more Cyclops to try to attack that Phalanx. There's plenty more Phalanx. I don't think we're in danger here, per se, but he's trying to dive forward. Can't quite get the mines to pop on themselves, and doesn't really have any further punishment there. But honestly, it's not bad. He is Cyclops monocomping. Did he cancel his Palladium? Guys, I'm not crazy. He had a Palladium here. Did he cancel it by mistake or something? I'm so confused. Because I made a whole point to talk about how there's four Falk Palladium, and then for Kutiam, and Vilius has it at 2. And then he added 2 Falks after. That was a whole thing. I did that whole thing. Follow order, noob moment. Oh shit. Follow order. Hey, you're under attack, dude. Hey, by the way, you're under attack. Nope. His Wraith hunted down 1 Phalanx, but not the other. No, the Valkyrie! The Valkyrie's taking team damage! Crazy solution. Oh my god. Ass Valkyrie. Well, the Cyclops are here to try to do some damage. You think you're safe? Oh, he could have killed that. He should have had it right-clicked. If the Goliaths didn't change aggro, he actually would have killed the Phalanx in 2 more shots. Well, the Valkyries are going to be dissuaded from attacking those Ant-Seals, but that is going to be a legit thing. They both do. Good map control from Kutiam. He's got a great vision everywhere. 5 Phalanx production for him right now, and we do have Ramses coming out of these mantles. Why? Why Ramses? I guess he wants to just kill the Cyclops pretty efficiently. And then it has been a bit of a mono comp. Now this is dangerous, right? Like Vilius sending all these workers here. This is what you're gonna. It's gonna get you killed a lot of the time in these kinds of games. Is that Cyclops or anything else? By the way, like Iziracors in the TVZ, and you know, even just like Zealots or whatever in TVP. Pretty spooky to just leave your base completely undefended in that way. Wraith is out here getting a little bit of heckling, sees the mantles. Durandals are coming. Ramses are already out. Yeah, Kutiam's just being a bit of a nuisance right now. He sees that there's a little bit of a move out coming out here right from his opponent. A lot of money float for Vilius. I guess forget what I said when I mentioned that he doesn't normally... Like, these are players that don't typically play... Wait, what? I A-moved on a cloaked... L-coaked Wraith? Oh, Vilius. And it, like O put, the little Hitbosk's thing under it. I don't know what to tell him. He'll be fine. Tensender for Vilius. Gonna invest in some defense over here. I guess he can put like Kata in there or something. Vestry add-on for the stockade that he made. That I didn't even see him making. Pretty good. Alright, 4 base to 3. Kutiam definitely has an economic advantage. 40 worker plus as well. He's actually got a 5th ministry also ready to lift off at some point. He just hasn't done it. There's his own Atlas. A bunch of vultures come out. Well, it's not a 7-minute game like I was instinctually feeling, but Kutiam is definitely in the lead. Durandal drop. Oh boy. What did he put in the 10th center? Nothing yet. The fucking flag on the 10th center is so good, man. I love DF. What a good job. Trying to heckle this anchor. There's actually not that much in defensive positions here. Might be able to pick a Durandal, but no, not quite. Oh, I got Vilius. The drop comes out. Vilius wasn't reading. Cute. Could have been me though. That's the problem. Their names are in my name, so if that's all they read, then they didn't quite do it. Starports are coming up for Kutium. Oh, he's going for the autocrat. Olympian Striga. We'll see how it resolves. Wraith gets shot down. Scouts out. What's happening? A lot of phalanx coming up. Yeah, the advantage is also positionally with Kutium. It's not even just what we're talking about with relatively even tech. Nothing in that 10th center, by the way. But this is a dirty position to try to clear with anything that you have. And there's more reinforcements coming up as well. Phalanx cloud over here off to the left. There's no air units that the Valkyries even need to worry about right now. Oh, there's all the Ant Seals going down immediately. But the Durandals are pretty good at clearing these kinds of positions, so it would seem. We have reinforcements coming in with the form of vultures. A bit of a closer fight than we maybe initially expected. The reinforcements coming up, though. Valks are going to end up falling away. Plenty of phalanx here for Vilius, so he should be all right. Uh-oh. He could end up losing a couple more units than he would really want to in this situation. Oh, he's got the autocrat, though. Oh, he had the autocrat. Brutality. I feel like if Kutiam had moved further up here to try to deploy in this area to really guard that ramp, and then kind of made Vilius come up over in this area, that probably would have been a better shot. But, not quite, you know? So, the Phalanxes and the Autocrat and a couple other units are off to that side. This is a lot of Phalanx to have to deal with, and we got plenty more where that came from. This might be a walloping. He's not even deploying his own Phalanx over here on this side. Oh, I see. Yeah, I'm out of sync with the players for sure, or at least with Vilius. I don't know if I'm out of sync with Kutian as well. That's a lot of units, though, to be fair. What did he select? It shows him selecting the Goliath turret. That's pretty impressive. I didn't even know that was a thing that could be done. All right, lads. We're stuck in TVT hell. This one will be shorter than 7 minutes. Oh, wait. I gotta host the right version that actually has the stuff patched out. Wink. Wink. I'll delete the old version now. It is safe to. What's up, Alexander? Been a bit. How you doing? Excuse me. Yeah, we just got kind of unlucky. I hear you there. We're back. Magma. Royal blue. Bedazzled blue. There you go. That one. Those off blues are really. Those are funky colors for me to guess sometimes. Be they light or dark. I'm pretty good at dark sapphire though. All right, this is where Kutyam goes for Fulcrum Vulture all in. Oh, he's not. He's Ministry firsting. Oh shit! God damn, that takes some balls. I'm gonna be honest, guys. Now I'm locked in. Now I'm ready. See, look at that. Eat it, Neblime. Valkyries are very good, TVT. Owned. He once told me he would have to PayPal me like $100 or something if Valkyries won a game or were used in a game or whatever. All right. Now, it does take a little bit for Ministry First to pay off, and this is a two-spot map where they know where each other are. But Vilius played very defensively last game. He is making a Vulture first this time, so he's corrected that particular error. He's not being scouted. Maybe he wants to go and scout himself, you know? We'll see how far forward the Vulture ends up going. That's going to tell us a lot about what's up here. It just kind of hangs out for a little bit, though. I think Kutyam's going to be just fine. It's going to take a little bit for me to get used to saying Chupin instead of Supin, but I'll figure it out, guys. I'll speak all the languages. And here's the Ministry on the high ground here for Vilius. At least I think that's why this Mason's all the way up there. Oh, it's a star pad. Never mind. He's going to do Ministry on low ground. Okay. So he wants to do his Cyclops drop again. Guys, this still could be a 7-minute game. Well, I guess not. He's going gas. What did we go in the extra gas for? Is he doing a tier 2 rush or something? Could it be star pad spam? Yeah, I don't really know what you use a lot of gas for at tier 1 Terran if it's not like Covenant play. You know what I mean? So I'm a little bit question marked. Yes. Grass Eater asks about Nexus first in Cosmonarchy. I mean, the one that stands out to me was Bonneth DeWalt show match, and DeWalt immediately went Nexus first in the first game. So that was pretty good. I couldn't quite let the mine out. I actually think he wanted his scout to confirm the Ministry, which he should have. Sees the timing. Has his own Goliath for anti-drop. Has another Goliath coming and a Cyclops coming. What is all the gas for, man? What you doing, Chupin? Kind of reminds me of in Warcraft 3. What is this, by the way? In Warcraft 3, there's the troll headhunter is the one that does this, I think. Where you tell him to do something and he goes Chugad it, man. And Chupin reminds me of Chugad it. Cyclops incoming. But we got the anti-drop mines, we got the Goliaths. Plural. Where's the first one? Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah, it could be that the trolls are Hungarian instead of Jamaican, Pacific Islander. Here we go. Got the Goliath. Ready to go. Yeah! Get him! Get him! All right. Trojan down, boys. And another mine hit. Thankfully, he did actually send some more units in, so. No spread. No spread, no split. Outrageous. Why did he just fly by with his own Trojan? Like, hey, I'm gonna do that to you now. What the hell? Well, the economy is still obviously in favor of Kutiam thanks to his successful Ministry First build. He had a Goliath down here he forgot about, and now he's just making a lot of Cyclops, so... Yeah, that's a lot of production. Single Phalanx is on the way. Goliaths are going to be the reinforcements. Watchdog is going to finish up just in time to not help with the drop. Yeah, Mason damage here at this point is pretty bad. Because Kutiam already had a pretty powerful worker lead, and he ends up losing so many Mason. Down 10 workers now. Vilius has got to come back stronger. Dude, 7 minutes. 7-minute game. That's what we're seeing here. Not really, but I'm just saying. 2 more Phalanx after that. Fulcrum number 4 on the way for Vilius. You know, I think Vilius was so out of sorts last game, last attempt on this game, because... partially because of the fact that he had to play a 42-minute game on Monocyte. I feel like that might have contributed a little bit. Now, are we going to see an elevator strategy? Oh, he's got to unload. He's not going to unload. Gets 2 offs. Trying to drill, trying to decollide. Mine hit's pretty brutal. All right, well, that could have been better. Now we got a Phalanx contained sort of being set up here. The Cyclops are going to need to be piloted a little bit better than this. Okay. You didn't need those for defense. I'm speechless. What the hell has Kutiam done? I don't think, you know, I don't think Chuk got it, man. You know what I mean? I think maybe maybe he's had a bungle. Oh my goodness. He's lost the sauce. We need that sauce. Wraith coming. Not a second Trojan. Or third Trojan, I guess. A little hidden base in the top right for Vilius for his third. I think Kutiam's already finished his third base, yeah. He's already moving over to that high ground. Bit of a flank here. Should be sufficient to clear these Phalanx. Remember, this one was already wounded from earlier anyways. Pop it will go. We still have 6 Cyclops left over with plenty more production. But there's a lot of Phalanx being made, and we don't really see a good response to this just yet. Starpad made a single Wraith. I'm guessing that's just going to be for general harassment or something. Pretty good anti-drop setup over there for Vilius inside the main base. This army's making a move onto the third base, and Kutiam's deciding to just attack. He sees the kind of defenders that he's up against. He's actually going to be caught by a lot of these Phalanx in the middle, or a couple of these Phalanx in the middle. He's pulling away. His Cyclops are kind of in disarray. He made the choice to decide he was just going to push forward. And I don't necessarily hate it. I think it's probably the, like, in some ways it's the right choice. He needs to go over here and hug the minerals, so, or he could try to pursue the Masons. It's a lot of Masons, so there is that as well. He's going to take out the Watchdog. But he never ended up lifting his Ministry, and he doesn't really have the answer right now to the push that's being done against his third. He is going to have to cancel this out. Now his Masons down here are under attack. Just on the rally, so they're not exactly on an attack move here. Still a lot of Phalanx to deal with, by the way. Oh, he changes targets a little bit too late to do much of anything. Adding more Fulcrums, making more Cyclops, but I feel like he's running out of steam, man. He's adding anchors. There's Ant Seals up here. Vilius' attack isn't the most coordinated either, but now they're even on workers, except there's a little bit more peaceableness to Vilius. He has not reset his natural, admittedly. Finally, one of these phalanxes will go down, and they will end up deploying as well. So he's got 4 left in siege mode. Very wounded Goliaths. Another round of Cyclops emerges. Why is he monocomping like this? You know what I mean? That's pretty wackadoodle. Finally breaks the Anseals. He ends up combat dropping and losing his Trojan. Okay, he's broken everything. He's still here. And now he's making 7 Cyclops, soon to be 8 Cyclops per round. Reset his natural. Actually, he's still going to be mining better than Vilius is. Well, maybe not because of this, but the fact that he took so long to reset his natural, even though he wasn't actually under any duress, means that Vilius didn't really get ahead from that as much as maybe we would have hoped. And there is a 4th base being established at the same time. So there's plenty of macro potential here for Kutyam. Still a lot of Phalanx, and only Cyclops is the answer, apparently. Atlas is on the way for Vilius. If he could find out the top right, he could get very far ahead, but I don't think Kutyam's going to be able to do that. He's just going to have to kind of force these deployments and then back off. Maybe he can pick off Goliaths and stuff. Maybe a Cyclops wrap around, but the Phalanxes are protecting that other side. Neither player going for the neutral bases, by the way, where there's like the reservoir and the minerals and stuff. Bit of a mistake, I think, from Vilius to decide to not really pressure this base here, the 3rd, and just bypass it. He didn't kill so many workers in the natural, but I guess I can see how it could have been good. It's just... that was a very discombobulated set of things that happened. If Vilius pushes Kutyam's Cyclops too far back, he could accidentally stumble upon the top right, although I guess he probably... like, logically, it probably wouldn't be a thing that he does. Oh man, this is a really hard thing to try to siege. Let's see, though. He might try to break it. He's got the reinforcements coming up as well. The Anseals are out of position. Oh, the Anseals are way out of position. 5 Phalanxes going up in smoke almost immediately. Anseal's kind of low on shielding there. Oh, yeah. A couple of them going down as well. And maybe the wraparound here. I mean, if all these Cyclops decided to make a move on here, they would actually kill those Phalanxes and maybe be able to threaten to attack the Masons up there. But there's also more Phalanxes coming out of the production. Captaincy's on the way for Vilius as he goes into Tier 2. 2 extra star pads coming up for Kutyam. Clearly he wants to go for some kind of Wraith push, I think. Or maybe he's just going to do a lot of Trojans. I'm not entirely sure. But I would think Wraiths are going to be the main thing. But Tier 2 is going to laugh in the face of a lot of this. Ah, okay. Double Cyclops drop coming in. It will scout the captaincies. Bitty-bee-ta. Canceling out 1 captaincy. Canceling mining from this base as well. Yeah, this is causing a lot of confusion and chaos. He can maybe even pop some of these watchdogs or something. Make it easier to drop in later if they aren't restocked. Instead, he wants to just kind of bleed the Phalanxes out if he can. I don't think he's going to be able to score any others, but he scouts the mantles. He sees the Tinkerer's Tower being made. And his own Atlas is coming. Takes only 40 seconds now, I think. Maybe it was 60, I can't remember. It used to be 75, so I think now it's 60, actually. So about a minute away from him being able to equal the tech, but remember, he's got superior macro. Going for his 5th base, and he's got Masons that can transfer over immediately anyway. Trojan empty. What did he end up doing with these star pads? I don't see any Valkyries. Anseal shielding absorbs the on-hit, so it's a little bit awkward for the Cyclops initially. Only now is he harvesting gas. Yeah, this is all off of this hidden base in the top right, which now is not going to be discovered just yet. He's trying to get the Cyclops in, but the Phalanxes and the Goliaths together are going to be more than sufficient here. Atlas complete. Triple Trojan. Matador's coming. It looks like he wants to do a little bit of a different kind of drop. He made a bunch of vultures. It would be nice to lay some mines and get some map control. Battle workers? All right, captaincy units, mantle units are already being leveraged. Mantles being made in the top right. 11 Cyclops. He's on 11 Falk. He never ended up saturating that 3 o'clock, though. That's a bit of an unforced error. He's got a bunch of Matadors and a couple Cyclops in there as well. Okay. So this drop is meant for the main base, and it's probably possible that he can blow up some infrastructure with this. But he's it could also be combat, I guess. Like, it could be a combat drop. I don't know if you want to do that versus Striga, though. Okay, he's going to come in. He will go for the main base here. That's a pretty scary drop. Gonna have to cancel out a lot of structures here, including 2 captaincies, so his tier 2 bioscaling is not as effective as he wants it to be. Instead, he's gonna try to power directly into Kutiam's territory. He's got a bunch of Cyclops moving into that unprotected third base. Sort of a deja vu in some ways. A little bit of healing with the Shaman and the Cleric trying to negate the Cyclops damage, and it will indeed negate the Cyclops damage. I don't know where those ant seals went, by the way. Did they all die? I see one of them dead now. Some of them are still alive. This is a very scary push. At the same time, Captaincy dead, Ministry dead. Goliath seem to be cleaning things up over here. A Fulcrum will end up crumbling. But is there any way for Kutiam to defeat Vilius' army? He didn't invest in any phalanxes. He has no crowd control. Oh, he's got Ramses, but that's not in a sufficient number, it feels like. And he's only producing off of his Fulcrums right now. Man needs other units. Cyclops are pretty good. They can kill a Cataphract, but I don't think they can kill 2. Goliath's cleaning everything else up there. There's Vultures and Trojans over here in the bottom left, but not in sufficient numbers. We did have some units pinched off to attack the 6 o'clock. The Natural is blown open. The 3rd is now under attack, and GG. Vilius moves on in a 17-minute game, which is almost a 7-minute game. TVT. GG. All right, that puts him up against Grass Eater. Ministry First is pretty baller, I have to admit. Let's see what Grass wants to do. Going up against the Vil. Probably too late for him to be playing for much longer, but I don't know if that's going to stop him. Actually, it's not that late. It's only 9 o'clock over there. I thought it was like way later. We go to Crisis Vector for the Grass Eater map pick over Vilius. I'll put my name in the... I'll put admin in my name so people know. If it does hash again and they don't give me funny... Give me a funny... Winner of this next match is going to go up against Arbuz Budesh in a best of 3. And then the Arbuz best of 3 winner will move on to face Hamster, and the winner of that faces Zeke. By the way, I'm working on a new co-op map. Should have that one out pretty soon. I don't think it'll be today, but we'll see. Maybe. I just have to decorate it, really. Not a whole lot left. We're going into our match. GLHF. Crisis Vector selected by the Grass Eater, who is White Zerg in the top left. Oh, he's T-Green again. I definitely didn't expect that. Q. Vilius in the bottom right. Bedazzle Blue. He's 6-pooling. He's 6-pooling the Vil. Is Vilius? Yeah, Vilius is going to go Stockade here, so... Very interesting. I actually don't know how this math's out anymore. This will be interesting. Well, he is calling it out. Grass should just say okay. Yeah. Yeah, he should. If you wanted that, should have said it in the lobby. There you go. I'm helping. Wink. It's mind games. Something is a mind game, that's for sure. 4 pairs of quads. We've got 1 Maverick that will be done at the same time as 4 pairs of quads. A pair of Zeth. This Kagrin will turn into a Larvosk. Man, this is gonna be a This is gonna be a silly game. Maybe this is our 7-minute game. He's just making Zeth. He is all-inning. This is an all-in play from Grass. There is no transition away from this into like a, oh, if he gets some damage, he can stick around. Unbelievable. Well, Anchor is starting. He's got a Huracan. Honestly, Anchor is not that good versus Quaz. You'd think it would be better, but it doesn't have any armor effectively. Like, it has 1 armor and Quaz have 1 armor pen, so Quaz just bypass it. I don't know. He's got double stockade. Oh no, he popped the guy. Only 1 Maverick made it in, another one stimmed. But yeah, down the Anchor will go. Sends the Zets after the Cyprian. The last of the Maverick is dead. No other units were being made during that all time for Vilius. LMAO GG. The mind games did not work. :D. There you go. That makes up for the lost time, guys. Easy. Easy. Outrageous. Well, there you go. Vilius gets to go to bed, and that is a wrap there. We go to German Nation for map number 1. Arbuz versus Grass Eater in our best of 3. If he just mass repaired Ahmed, then he'd have been invincible. That is true, actually. I never thought of it like that. All right, lads. Grass Eater in the top left is our T-Green Zerg once again. And in the bottom right, we have Arbuz Budash. He is our Blood Protoss. And in this particular matchup, those that bleed best will not be under the knife. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, saying blood. Put me in the blood summon mode. Apparently I just blind guessed that Arbuz would have been Protoss. But I kind of hedged my bets because the overlay icon, the wall, the border was Zerg, right? So I had to fix that part. Gateway coming up. Scribe Scout off of the gateway. See what Arbuz wants to do. I mean, Arbuz should comfortably 2-0 this, but let's see if Grass can throw some spanners in the works. You think he's going to 6-pool game 2 on his own map pick? It's a possibility. He can't pick Crisis Vector again because he just picked it versus Vil, so he's got to pick a different map. That's the only rule about map picks is when it's time for your map pick, you can't pick whatever you just picked. And I guess, you know, if it's a series, like he can't pick Germination for map 2 because we just played it. I guess there are 2. Dracula is a blood summon green eggs. I feel like that was a sentence that wasn't meant to be, like, directed at a player named Green Eggs, right? That was just blood summon green eggs. One thing I will say is Arbuz might fuck around a little bit in this series. He has done that in the past. The tickles continue. Just trying to distract Grass just a little bit. OG lore. True. Big round of workers here for Grass Eater, so he's kind of hedging bets that he's not going to be attacked anytime soon. If this was like a 3 or 4 gate open, he would just get run over. So I don't mind when Zerg players play with this kind of, you know, at the edge, knife's edge kind of greed. I think that you have to do that and then dial it back a little bit. And Nablon talks about this sometimes with his practice. He likes to be greedy, and when he loses, he likes to just dial it back one layer of greed. One less greedy decision, you know? And then he just keeps doing that until he stabilizes and can fight it out. Agrilith already on the way for Grass Eater. He wants to keep his worker count fairly high. He's going to go for an expand, it looks like. Has the money for it. Shroud on the way. Halfway complete. Warden inside the mineral line here for Arbuz, so he can move out without worrying about a bunch of Zeths or whatever. Zet's going to catch the move out here. With its Death Recore. Nidus Trinity Huracan replacement. Death Recore. I don't even know what that would... That wouldn't be Nidus Trinity. It's got to be like an... I don't even know what you would call it. Like... It's got to be an edge faction. And they have Death Recore. I have too many ideas, guys. 14 quads. Well, it's going to have a hard time cracking through these zealots. Circuits are on the way. Only one of them is about halfway complete. Yeah, he's just going to pop it like that. Doesn't even get the cancel off there. The Agrilith has to fall back a little bit. Start trying to fight a little bit. Got the quads out a little bit. 3 Lakes are going to pop here pretty soon, so You know, yeah, he did a little bit of damage in some ways, but he's not going to be able to stick around and just fight it out, I don't think. Oh, maybe he can. Hold on. He's got the Zealot still alive. Where's the focus fire? Lakis going after the Ecclesiast, and that's kind of what they needed to do. That's what the Quas needed to do this whole time. And I can't believe Grass Eater didn't quite target select the way that he wanted to. Did I even kill a single unit? ZZ, GG. Yeah, you killed an Ecclesiast. You can see the corpse right there. Absolute devastation. So Arbuz will take map 1, and Grass Eater's not going to be feeling too happy about that, I surmise. See what Grass's map 2 is. Shambo trying to coach Vilius in the meanwhile. No excuses. Death is no excuse. I gotta do more unit response voice acting, IMO. I have a lot of fun with that. We go to Demaloon for our next pick. Oh, Grass Eater's trying. He's champing at the bit, guys. He's really going for it. Let's go. Let's do it. This time it's going to be ZVZ as our T-Green Zerg in the top left of Demaloon is going to be Grass Eater. And in the bottom right, we have the Vermilion Zerg of Arbuz Budesh. I was thinking maybe it was Vivid Red. But then I was like, no, it can't be Vivid Red. Because if it was Vivid Red, right? Hear me out. It would be a lot closer to regular red. And I'd be like, I don't know about that one. Is that red? But I was very sure this was not red, so I decided, okay. It's Jack Yellingski. Yeah, there should definitely be like our words for yours. Our voice for yours. That's got to be an Ascozy thing. Besides Ascozy unit responses, which units do you guys think? Just sound off one unit each person in the chat that wants to. That should have unit responses that doesn't right now. Skin. Dude, the Ascozy, you can't have the Akreno actually do this because the Akreno is a beast. But, well, I've gone back and forth as to whether or not the Akreno should be an Ascozy or a beast, and I'm still not really decided on it. But I gotta nail that down when it's time for its own model, of course. But they could actually point to the Akreno and say, our cause for yours. But even without that, our cause for yours, as in C-A-U-S-E, cause, would at least be the same pronunciation. You know what I mean? It's true, Chebecca. It's true. Milestone helped out with the Sikralisk. That was pretty good. Right? It definitely fits best when it's something that can be a plural, something that can be monosyllabic. That flows the best. But there's a way to voice act it so that it still sounds pretty banger if it's like, our positions for yours. Or whatever. You just have to change how you intone it. Azera cores are coming. Arbus went Hydra first. What do you do against this Grass Eater? Flee! Flee, Grass Eater! You must flee! Oh, near. He didn't split. Circuit's coming. Going after him. Get him. Okay. Yeah, this is a much better position, actually, for Grass to be in, but... Oh, the Burrow Micro. The Burrow Micro's coming. Here come the Zets. He's got 2 Zets of his own in the bottom right. He's trying to do multitasking. Oh, he does end up clearing all of the Azera cores except for the one that's burrowed in there, and... You know, I'm not entirely sure why he decided to use 2 Zets to try to kill a Larvosk, but that's okay. He didn't lose workers. That's really important, actually, so that looked pretty bad. Now, he didn't kill the Azera core up here in the top left. Yeah, most of the Protoss Automata and most of the Zerg units do not have unit response. This burrow will remind Arbus that he has a burrow. Dude, Zeke might have gone home. Zeke might have been like, alright, I'm going to bed, guys. GG. He didn't, but he might have forgotten he was still had to play. I don't know, it's been a while. Been a lot of TVT and a little bit of ZVZ and a little bit of ZVT and a little bit of ZVP. And a nice little tranche of different things. Remember, Hamster's still waiting as well, so. Expansion coming for both players, but the Azera Core army is slowly getting rid of this hatch. This other guy was just kind of heckling over here, tickling a couple idle workers out of it, so there's that. Now, the Azera Core shouldn't keep trying to kill the hatch. However, they should absolutely come up here and start killing the Lakers. Because they can. Because they can just stay alive. And the Zoryus do not have the firepower by themselves. Oh, Grass. Well, he's got a lot of quads, so this actually should help out quite a bit. Yeah, the lower armor on the Azera Core, courtesy of the purple goop, will definitely help out. In that game on Serenity, Arbus really wanted to use Azera Cores to a great success, but Hamster had the better of him, you know. Here comes another one. Ooh, stays alive again. Finally, it will be destroyed. So the Lakers have been somewhat assisting. Most of it has been Zoryus, must be said. But, you know, if it was more Hydra heavy than Azera Core heavy, the Lakers would have been more useful. So it's kind of a funny little quirky situation. 4 Lakers moving out for Zoryus with them. Backbone of the army. There's Quas there, which are also an important component, but you know how it is. A lot of Hydras. There's an Ovaleth here as well for detection. And the Azera Cores are going to come back in for a bit of a flank, it looks like. So Arbus is well situated to be able to catch this. In fact, his Azera Cores even link up with the army and go across the ramp before, or the bridge rather, before Grass gets particularly set up. Cycling back, and Azera Core is traded out, but a lot of bruised Zoryus. Their HP is way lower than it was before this fight. We were only a few moments away from Arbus just kind of wiping the floor there. 6 o'clock being taken. Tethvit Swamp on the way. Arbus wants to go for Tetzora Cores. It's kind of funny because Arbuz really he believes in the Teth, but most other Zergs have kind of abandoned it. Even in ZBZ. All right, big mineral bank here for Arbuz. 8 Droleth, a bunch of Tetzora cores on the way. He's going to wait for those Apex strains to finish, and then he'll be moving across the map. Yeah, 8 Droleth, 7 Teth is definitely going to cost you some serious moolah, so that does not surprise me. Oh, see which one it is. I feel like with 10 more Izira cores on the way, even without that, Arbuz's army is pretty fearsome. 9 o'clock going to be taken here for the third base of grass. He's also making another macro hatch inside the natural. His Lakers are not in a good position here as Zorius are being caught. Pouncing on the opportunity. Couple of, yeah, the Teth is over there distracting all the Lakers. That's a really good set of positioning there from Arbuz. And his Hydras aren't really being microed here. So they are going to be threatened a little bit by all of the meat of what grass has. And here come a bunch of Hydras. Now, the Zorius are still alive, which means that the armor end is going to be a little bit difficult for Arbuz to deal with the Teths, because the Hydras are going to be able to beat up those Teths with limited amounts. Here come the Izira cores that are going to end up needing to be invoked within the army. 13 more coming. Grass is kind of getting caught up over here. Well, this is definitely an awkward situation. Yeah, Arbuz is going to have to fall back a little bit. Reposition. No. Grass's army still threatening here. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of units, but the Lakers can deal with this in theory. It's just that the reinforcing Izira cores are going to be way too much, yeah. That ends up being a pretty easy route there for Arbuz. And honestly, the way that that feels like it also happened on Grass's side too, to be honest with you guys. There's a random Agrolith. No, maybe not. Maybe he is pushing forward because there's no other units being made. So. Owned. I actually blame Arbuz for that person, even though Grass decent. Yeah, Green Eggs. Zerg float super hard because larvae are new units, so it's larvae can't be used in the desynced world. They act as completely different units, so I think going forward for selective random, I'm probably going to make them pick the race that they got, or random in general, when remaking, because I didn't even really think about that until just now, but it's not a rule, so I can't like retroactively enforce it, you know what I mean? But in the top left, we have the Zephyr Protoss of Arbuz, and the Grass Eater is the T-Green Zerg in the bottom right, going for an Larvosk opening here. I'm going to say an 8 Larvosk, but that's a little bit of a fib. Lattice coming. So Arbuz went 2-gate into expand into just Zealot Ecclesia's timing, and Grass was just ill-prepared because he went for like a fast Shroud and didn't have enough actual units like Chaff to just deal with it. And didn't focus down the Zealots and stuff, right? So there is that as well. But this time around it's going to be Lattice. What's up, Nebline? This time around it's going to be Lattice, and Lattice play is pretty good for PvZ. I mean, Nebline is actually pretty good at telling us about that, believe it or not. You casted Nebline, or are you just going to be you just hanging out in the chat? Hope you've been well, my homie. Pull coming down now for Grass, surely. There it is. I believe this is the first time Grass Eater has made it to a paid result in a weekend wage or in any sort of tournament. So I don't even know if if he does have a, like he's kind of a young kid, I think. So I don't even know if he's got a bank account or a PayPal or whatever. But yeah, no worries. Hope you've been well, homie. Lattice Gateway. So the Sim is here to just do a little bit of scouting. The Vassal is here to make good on the fact that one Vassal can sometimes do a lot of damage if it's just not, it's like it's a good thing to force your opponent to equipment check it in the early stages of the game. He'll have Quas, so I think he'll be fine, but just, it's a thing. And then it's going to be Idol, Ecclesiast. I'm sure we're going to fit in some Zealots here into this build, maybe a second Gateway. Could even be Idol Legionnaire, because you are spending a lot of minerals with this build, so if he goes for a second Gateway, don't be surprised if you see Legion. Sim comes up, second Larvosk, 8 pairs of Zeths. Well, Grass Eater could maybe bite back here a little bit. Sim's going to walk in. But this does mean that the Vassal is going to have a little bit of an outsized impact by comparison. Only now are 2 pairs of Quas being made, so the Vassal will shut down some mining here. Great surround on that Sim. We have a guy who's on... Yeah, there you go. Head to Unburrow there. Whew. Spam Unburrow everything. Yeah, so this is annoying, the Zets are leaving the building. This is the right move here from Grass Eater. He sends the Zets across the map. They can't do anything here. And it's also the right move from Arbuz to just kind of be like, all right, you made a lot of Zets. I'm going to play a little bit more defensive. Well, he actually pulled out from the spot. The Zets could be pretty scary here. Sim splits. Yeah, they get closer to the Scribes. The drill's going to come out here. Great wall there of Automata and Zealot to protect the idols. So that ends up getting reposted. Very nice. Yeah, well, Veek's in the middle of the monster replacement of all remaining floats right now as we speak. He's been running that for a little bit now, and it requires re-implementation of, weapon penetration, bullet interception, some unit, some things like the Phalanx Mortar, how far up it goes in the sky. Although that's probably not likely to desync, but anything with the float could. So. All right, Nebline, we'll remember that. But yeah, we will need your testing, and whenever Veek finishes that up, I'm guessing it'll be like mid-March or early March when he makes his next really big set of progress on that. Mostly what we're going to need is gameplay testing, to be honest. We're going to want to just push something to release, and then push the desync thing to pre-release, and then see what code is broken, because there's going to be some. Dwarves have been made. Grass Eater is going to try to dive in, see if he can get for a run-by. Great anticipation and reaction from Arbuz there as he is going up for Ardent Authority. He's got his Warden in the mineral line, and he has his Nexus about to finish here. Grass Eater making an Agroleth. Looks like he will at some point go for that expansion, and he's getting a third Larvosk. So a little bit late on that third Larvosk. I mean, everything here is fine, but I am wondering what the path out of this is going to be for Grass. He does need some supportive tech. Preferably... I guess you could probably navigate this with Shroud or Den. I don't actually know which one I would prefer. It's probably just whatever the player's comfort is. And there's the hatch coming. I think you used the Agrolith for that. Yeah, you did. So... Vassal will scout it and see the timing. Setting up for a dive in, we've got a Warden and a Bulwark, so I don't think this is going to do what Grass Eater wants it to do, which is to, of course, break through and win the game. He's just going to see the breadth of the defenders and fall back. Quas have killed the Vassal in the middle of all of this action. So, a Cantor on the way. Seems to be the first... Yeah, that's the inaugural Ardent unit. Calcure Lake coming up. So Grass Eater clearly wants some Lyra. I wouldn't hate Calculus, because, I remember Zeke was innovating this, one pair of Naths to make 2 Calcs kind of build when the Calcure Lake first got changed up to not require Tier 2 anymore. And it was sending a lot of Protosses, even Oya, for a loop a little bit. They had to adapt their placement of their static defense a lot based around that. So, you know, that trickles down. Three pairs of Nathicores. Calculists are definitely going to be a factor here. Ridge capping on both main and natural. It's going to slow down the gas income for a little bit. I did think a little bit about the concept of being able to still mine from the ridge cap or the geyser cap while it's being made. That was actually something that I was pretty sure I wanted to add for a different RTS game, like a own game released on Steam kind of thing. So, definitely something I've thought about before. Bit of a tech debt for it implementing it into StarCraft 1's engine, and I don't really know if I even like the idea anyway for Cosmonarchy. I think the choice to pay a time cost before you can keep mining is kind of woven into the fabric of the game by now. Yeah, capping minerals is... I guess it's not currently possible until I finish implementing rich minerals, because new unit ID... So, when you cap a ridge or a geyser, it turns it into a new unit ID. So, new mineral unit IDs aren't supported yet, and that's something I've got to finish reverse engineering for the rich minerals. But yeah, conceptually, it's not any harder than the ridge cap or geyser cap or whatever. Now, what is hard is for Grass Eater to actually find victory in that kind of army composition. And we do have an Acantor drop inside the main base attacking that Escagant. That'll be 3 dead workers, it looks like. Oh, no, only 2. Zealot is out here as well to play defense. Oh, yeah, this is going to be kind of brutal. The Calcs are here, but Grass kind of wanted to hold that as a bit of a surprise. Meanwhile, while there's 11 kills, now 2 of those are... So, okay, 11 worker kills. Yeah. 11 dead Droleth. Just 2 of the kills were the Quas that we're trying to defend. While that's all going on, there's the 3rd base being set up with defenses. And the army was not at all heckled or reduced. So Arba's looking very scary right now, and I don't really see where the punch is supposed to come from Grass Eater's army. Yeah, admittedly, the Calculists can try to pinch those Acantors, but there's a lot of anti-air. Grass Eater thinking about charging up here. But that's a lot of splash damage. Here comes the Calcs trying to go after the Acantor. Kind of carved a path through there. The Lyrilisks are going to keep everything entertained. They do end up taking out the Acantor, but it's a lot of dead ground units, man. Quaz, Lyra, and the 3 o'clock being set up by Grass. Unitary Unions, 2 of them are on the way. Another redoubling of the efforts. The Lyrilisks are sort of mixing up their targets here between ground and air. Oh, the Calculists are actually doing really, really well here. The Idol's not quite able to focus them down because of the presence of all the Lyra. But it's still a fight that has to be taken in stages here for the Zerg. And remember that the extra tech is coming for Arbus. He's got a vastly superior economy. So yeah, we're getting more... Oh dear. Yeah, the engram is going to be pretty fearsome there. Yes, we're getting... You know, more Lyra, more Quas, but the Calculus count isn't swelling to a ridiculous number, and the engram will defend. You can see him trying to wrap around here a little bit. There's 1 defensive Warden. Most of those units were not actually attacking it. Some of them weren't even aggroed, it looks like. The one Zealot is arrived at the 3 o'clock. The Calcs end up being... mostly just shown the door. I think 2 scribes died. Yeah, Grass is having to respond to very minimal efforts from Arbus. All the while, not really building up a huge, fearsome army. Oh my god. He bounced the attack off his own hatch. Almost killed him. That would have been a cool trick shot, at least. And here comes the Acantor, round 2. Well, Arbuz kind of got lackadaisical with it. Patrolling Witness. 5 dead workers is not terrible, but obviously you want a little bit more out of the Acantor. This is really funny. You can just move the scribe over that burrowed spot and let the vassals still attack. Another Acantor drop is earmarked. Unars have been made. That's an interesting choice. I feel like you'd go for Asilius, but I guess they do kind of confirm the Calculus is dead. Well, there's not that many Acantors. The Lyrilisks trying to punch above their weight here. Asilians have come out now, though, and I feel like that's going to be the beginning of the end here. The Unar's still alive as well. Respect on the Calcir Lake composition. I bet a lot of you guys thought that the Protoss was just going to kind of stomp over this. I myself thought they'd perform a little bit better. I'm sure there's target selection that could have been done, or unit positioning that could have been done a little bit nicer for Arbuz, but you know, he's maybe playing a little bit lackadaisical, conserving energy for his next set. Meanwhile, Grass is really making him work for it in this second game, what could be the final game of our best of 3 between these two. And then we have to see what comes next. A lot of static defense being set up at 12 o'clock. More Cantors. There was another drop at some point planned, but I don't see wreckage or signs of it. Oh, it's up here in the top right. That makes sense. The bulwark revealed it. Catches this Acantor drop, but the Acantor drop is going to catch this expansion in the top right, so, you know. Let's see how good Lyras are versus the individual Acantor. Obviously, it's a lot harder to dodge when there's, like, several. Calx will clear the Envoy, so we'll not be scooting another one back up. Huh. I don't know, guys. Arbuz is looking pretty difficult to penetrate here at 12. But it looks like Grass wants to give it a go. If the ground army is absorbing the engram shots, then the Calculusks are free to do some pretty good damage. But as you can see, they're actually having a little bit of a struggle some time right now. And Arbuz's army, meanwhile, has cut off reinforcements and is now moving on the 3 o'clock base, and he's just going to concede and call GG. He knows he just lost most of his army trying to kill a base that would not be killed, and he tried to, you know, reinforce a little bit and only to get cut off by the army. That is it. Grass Eater has been defeated. Exterminatus complete. And now we go to Arbuz versus Hamster, or Hamster versus Arbuz, as Hamster was waiting. So let us begin. Well, Shopkeeper Dog, when you don't play, you can't place. Also, Arbuz is half, so not really. Ooh, we get to go to Ghost Platform. Or Ghost Station, I think. Yeah. I'm betting on Arbuz being rolling Zerg this time around, so we'll probably see some more ZVZ, but hey, you never know. It's a coin flip. Okay, we are going to Estacion Fantasma for our first game, and actually, Arbuz was not given Zerg. Can you believe it? So, I'm going to go ahead and correct the overlay real quick, and then we will get into our business. Into our penultimate best of 3 of Weekendwage 13. Thanks for joining us for this one. Here we are. Hamster in the top left is our Turquoise. Turquoise Zerg. And in the bottom right, we have Arbuz Budeshazar Maroon Protoss. He will once again be going Lattice first, similar opener to the game on Demaloon. So, what have we learned so far from these players? Well, Hamster is still pretty aggro, still pretty chaos-coded, shall we say. But he is going to not... he's not going to pool first this time, so there is that. It was pretty interesting how we got here in the tournament so far. Arbuz and Hamster met earlier, and it was a best-of-1 showing in favor of Hamster. But then Hamster struggled to defeat Zeke. Zeke showing class, despite maybe less practice recently than the other players that are in the top. 2-0 in favor of the Hungarian Starcraft 1 Pro. Once again, back to Zerg. He took second place as Protoss last time. He wants first place again. I wonder what his thought process is on a lot of that stuff, if he has much of a mindset about it. Because, you know, pros are always... They think a little bit differently sometimes about competition. And, you know, when it was Oya, when it was other StarCraft 1 pros, there's a degree to which I'm sure he was like, okay, you know, if I take second place after a hard fought, you know, 3-game best of 3 where I, you know, it's 2-1 and I lost, then that's a bit more understandable. But if I'm losing to, you know, the Cosmonarchy players instead of the pro players, then what am I doing? You know, I wonder if they think that at all, you know. There's a couple of games where Newt was beating him up and hit him up and all that, you know. Vassal and the Sim combining. Hamster is struggling. Hamster is taking his time here. Good borrow micro at the end there, but the Sim has started to split, and things are going a little bit poorly for our Hammy. Our Hammy is getting whammied. But the Quas are out now, and it should allow him to stabilize. He's lost 2 workers already, though. Vassal goes down. Another split on the Sims. Hold on. Oh, dear. Oh, goodness. Now, you're not going to overwhelm and just kill him, but you might be able to do a cheeky move here and bleed some Quas, or... Yeah, I guess he's just delaying things, you know? He's walking out. A lot of idle scribes back here, and of course the manifolds. I almost called them idle manifolds. That would have been really funny. So what did he get out of that? I mean, Hamster made a ton of combat units, delayed a lot of workers, lost 2 workers. So there were some material gains there. But he still has 3 larvae per 14 seconds. Nexus coming up here now for Arbuz. A bunch of Quas slip in the net towards the bottom left so that they can arc across unhidden. Oh. Well, hold on. Never mind. That's so funny. Well, they're just going to pass each other like ships in the night. We got some Quas, some Zeth. No defenses. Hatch in the Nat. I mean, does this favor any one player? We got Idols up here, Manifolds up here, and a Warden warping in. This might end up working out a little bit better for our Protoss. That's a dead Larvosk for sure. Manifolds are getting cracked open here. Remember that Warden is finishing up as we speak, so the defense is here, and the Quas count is a little bit too low to break this open. This might have just been an outmaneuvering. He's got a couple of units parked over here, though, and, well, the sim count is still good enough to keep it going. GG has to be called. Hamster has been routed on Astacion Phantasma. Not what he wanted to do to start things off in this series, and now Arbuz has the pleasure of selecting the next map. The privilege. So we go to mass destruction per his request. So far they are 1-1 in the game, but it could be a real quick one, depending on what happens here. Mass destruction is coming at you. All right, we have some ZVZ action now. Turquoise Zerg of Hamster going up against the Blood Arbuz Budesh Zerg, who is going to 6-pool. That's a 6-pool timing. Mass destruction. So I don't have a lot of time to get my overlay right, so hold on one moment here. Okay. Looks like we are good to go now. And there's that 6 Droleth pool. And a scout? This is a very economically disadvantaged build. But Hamster is not playing the 8 pool that Ziki usually plays to be kind of aggro in this matchup, but a little bit on the safer side. Here comes his own pool. It's closer to 9. Also has some gas coming, so he's definitely going to be going for a fast Kagrin here, yeah. It looks like the best timing that is going to be available for Arbuz is going to be if he goes for Zeths again. He's going to see the pool timing here. His is basically done as he scouts it. And the Kagrin's going to turn into a Larvosk, right? So, yeah, he scouts it, he sees, hopefully he was able to click on that and all that. So, there you go. He's got his 3 Zeths. It doesn't look like he does the larva trick to get the 4th one out. He should probably learn about that one. And there's his own Larvosk in the making. But yeah, the fact that this is a Larvosk and not a not anything else, right? Not a Circuith means that the Zets could make their way across, you know? Gonna be a pair of Quas behind it for defense. And pool will finish here. We don't have that many larvae available for Hamster anyway, and he is going to go for Quas, which take a little bit longer. So let's see what happens as the Zets are moving across. It feels like they should have already been closer to it. I wonder if they were getting body blocked by the Droleth or something. Could end up seeing some worker kills, maybe the Larvosk. Shouldn't be much more than that, however. They are going to be arriving as 2 pairs of Quas hatch. Oh, well, I don't mind that. He'll go after this one that's in the making. Force a cancel real quick. Then he's going to see if he can arc around. If he could manage to make it all the way over here and, like, Hamster didn't even know, that would have been pretty gigabrain. I 6-pool to get Zets into your main base and then unburrow them later. Like, what? Not very many people would ever expect that. Looking around for his opponent. Arbuz already scouted earlier at the cost of his own eco. Looks like he's going to go for another Larvosk. So his 6-pool antics didn't quite work out the way that he wanted to. I respect it, though. I do respect it. Sometimes I saw, AOT on this map in particular, he would do some pretty funny things, like he would go... He doesn't really like the desert tile set. It doesn't play nice with his eyes. So he would just try to get out of the game real quick by doing like a 6-pool with a Kagrin rush. It is like the fastest Zerg match I've ever seen. Was like, I think it was like over in a minute 50 or something like that. It's like, I didn't even know you could end a game that fast. Quas are moving out. That's not an attack move, so they let the Zeth by. Hamster is obviously going to be aware of this. He puts down his own expo. Has a better eco, no surprises. I don't even know if Hamster will know that this is a 6-pool or not, in like reflexively, because again, I think the timing is a little bit awry. But with this Zeth count plus the claws, this is actually a bit of a problem for Hamster, although he does have more units coming. But he ends up hemorrhaging a decent number of them. He could end up losing a Larvosk here. In fact, I would almost argue he should end up losing a Larvosk here. However, Arbus is going for the jugular. He is just going to be going after those claws with his own as the Zeths sink into the Larvosk. So that is a dead one. We have more claws that are hatching in the meanwhile. And this, with a worker pull as well, it's unlikely to get too much more. He could maybe focus down the workers. Looks like instead he wants to deal with the military, knowing he's reduced some of the larvae in the process. So, very nice. Hatch in the net. Of course, for Sir Hamster. We'll see if he can keep things steady. Arbus wasn't making too many units in the middle of that fight, so he only really has the dozen or so, and now he's got another rotation popping up. Shroud for both players almost at the same time. So this is really interesting. Hamster went for Shroud to keep the timing, despite losing the Larvosk. He did not rebuild that. And the military count is favored towards Arbus right now. Remember, he's also got more larvae, so this is actually looking pretty scary for him. I guess he doesn't have more larvae factoring in the hatch, so cancel that, but certainly more centralized larvae. This could still be really deadly. He's got the Zeth patrolling here, so Hamster's aware that this is the only angle of attack, but it's not like he has a lot of static defense set up. He has pretty much nothing, and the Shroud is half complete. He's making really road cores. He can't really afford that many units here. Zeths can finish that Kagran off, and indeed they will. It does end up forcing a cancel from Hamster, so ties him up a little bit, but yeah, this is looking pretty dire here. I don't know if Hamster can hold on. His tech is only now finishing, making another Kagran. His cross count on the right side, Eldas Hatch is soaking up a lot of damage, but Arbus seems to have caught up to it, and now he's going to stamp out the natural. I think you're totally fine here to just kill the nat from Arbus' POV. We got more units coming on down, so he's going to fall back a little bit. He doesn't need to end the game right here. He has done very, very critical damage. He's making 3 Lakes. Hamster also doing the same on the other side. I saw an Avaleth, but I don't know if it already finished. No, it looks like it was canceled. Yeah, I think that was in the production tab for Hamster, actually, so I was looking around to see if I could find out. Does any player have an Avaleth? There it is, Hamster once again queuing it up. Knowing that it's possible that there's a Shroud on the other side of this. Hatch coming down for Arbus. Now, obviously, Hamster kept the Hatch alive, of course. That was never in danger of going down, but he did lose a lot of infrastructure with those 3 Kagrans going down. Those are 3 worker kills. He lost workers in the mineral line anyway. So, definitely down in eco now. Okay, the Avaleth is not for detection after all. It is for a drop. A Zeth drop targeted towards his opponent. He's got vision all the way down here, courtesy of the Zeth. Big mass up for Arbus. What's he got for defense? Nothing. No, he's got 2 Quas patrolling right now. With the Droleths, though, they can help clear the Zeths, and so Hamster is now aware of what's happening. No detection on the side of Arbus. Does he feel like he needs it when he sees those spines, or is he just going to try to push forward anyway? Well, he tries to run right on top of that one, and he will pounce on the opportunity. The third Lakis was not burrowed there. Yeah, he's seeing how many spines. He's trying to count the enemy Lakis. Where's that drop coming from? Okay, did it not even go? Oh, it is here. Yep, there he is. Still kind of drawing the pool units forward there. He's just trying to give vision so that he can snipe the Kagran before it finishes, and he will be successful in doing so. Here's the drop. More Quas were made, and they're in the mineral line anyway, so he's going to try to go after the Larvosk, which makes a lot of sense. And he should be able to get it. Very good. Shouldn't be allowed to get any others. There's more on the rally point here. Oh, 4 health. That is close. Somebody would be like, hey, can you attack that with your Droleth for me, please? And it still wouldn't kill it, but... Oh, no, it would. Just barely at 4 health. Yeah. Danger, danger. Ovaleth going to swoop back in. A little bit of a fake out here, but also scouting out what's happening. Oh, he actually turns this into a Circuit instead of a Larvosk. He had the gas for something else, so I guess he just wants the defense. 6 Quas drop now, mostly targeting workers then. 2 more Lake is... Yeah, Hamster's building back into the game. No player going for a third yet. I guess Arbuz's army is still a little bit scarier. But honestly, I feel like Hamster has kind of stabilized. Arbuz going for the Ulgorg. This is sort of what I predicted in my head. I was thinking about that, what he might want to do. Ovaleth floats right on over. This is where a pair of Naths would be really helpful, but he doesn't have anything. He barely has any Quas over here. Needs to do something about that. Yeah, here come the Quas. I'm not really sure where his other Quas went. Where are they? I guess they... Nope, I don't know. I don't know where they went. He had 2 Quas that were sent out over there, but I don't know what happened to them. Now, the Ulgorg is going to get scouted out there by Hamster's flyover of it. He starts his own one a little bit earlier, too. They're mirroring each other. Down will the Ovaleth go, and... Very interesting. Very interesting ZVZ here. Winner faces Ziki for the grand prize in the grand final. Of the top 3 players, Arb is the only one who hasn't qualified for the main stage of Acropolis yet. Hamster pre-qualified, courtesy of his top 4 in Acropolis 3. Ziki qualified out of the first tribunal. Now in the 5th tribunal, Arbuz has signed up for it, so he has a chance. As I keep telling people, though, if you qualify, it's whatever you signed up for is what you got. You can't change it. So, you know, Ziki was moonlighting his Protoss that one time. Not able to do so, unless he wants to re-qualify, you know, open up a slot and try it again as Protoss. I don't think he will. I'm just saying, as an example. Weekendwage is where you can experiment with that kind of stuff. I think AU to switch to Protoss. If you receive an invite from the top 4, I don't restrict people's race changes or whatever, but if you qualified in the circuit to it, that's when the restriction comes in. So like Ziki has to be Zerg, and Oya has to be Protoss, and Newt has to be Terran. And then who qualified? Nebline. Nebline has to be Protoss. He qualified out of the 4th one. Congrats. Oh my god. There's an Ultra Core in these drops. That's a scary drop to go up against. But Hamster's also coming in to take a little look-see. Yeah, this army still looks pretty spooky. Like I wouldn't just start looking for drops, but at the same time, Hamster will spot this. I think. I feel like surely he scouted that with a Quas, but it doesn't have great vision, so maybe not. Or maybe he only saw one of them. We'll have to see on the, you know, essentially what he's going to be doing for his scouting and his reactivity. Double Agroleth. I don't know what that's about. Lakers are pretty far back, and he doesn't have a lot of them yet. 4 coming in. Eats up the corpse. They're going to go for it. Just kind of keeping him busy. You know, the heavy hitters here aren't going to die from a little skirmish like that. So that's fine. And there's the Ultra Core drop inside the main base. Holy moly. Now, okay, hold my beer, right? He's going to unload some units over here at the mineral only. You drop 1 Ultra Core? Here, let me help you out there, buddy. How about I drop 1 Ultra Core and a bunch of other stuff too? Seems to be winning the fight down here as well. In disarray is Hamster's army. His Lake is unburrow. All the Ultra Cores on this side of it. And did he end up putting down this Ultra Core? Well, now he did. Yeah, I see it now. But at the same time, the main base is in total disarray. Static defense are trying to be erected. A Larvosk is sniped. 1 Lake stands... well, burrows. Oh, that Hydrothin was really close to being popped as well before it finished. There's the reburrow from Hamster. I don't think he has anything that can deal with that Ultra Core inside his main base, dude. They're so scary to just see isolated, and all you got is workers or whatever. This base is in shambles. Natural is the only thing standing as a bastion of Hamsters, and there is nothing going on in Arbuz's base either. So he pops the hatch here. He still has this Ultra Core just kind of roving around looking for action here. He wants that Lakers. There you go. Munch. Eating the corpses. He's going for it. What a guy. Eats the... Yeah, that's impossible, dude. Giving him the runaround. More corpses for the corpse god. Gorgocore's on the way for Arbuz now. He can use those flyers with detection to clear Lake's fields if he has the opportunity to. And he looks like he's thinking about taking 6 o'clock here. Indeed he is. He's got plenty of cash, so he can definitely afford it. Pretty good map control as well. He sees all the other bases that are possible for Hamster to take. The Zeth over here is not going to get cleared out after all, but it might have spotted some minimap movement. Arbuz needs to burrow his Lakes. Only one Ultra Core right now, and it's going to be focused down by the Hydras, it feels like. Yep, down it goes. There's a lot of Lakes here for Hamster. Let's be real. They can do a lot of damage, but the Ultra Cores are taking way too long to be brought down. All the spread fire, they were right on top. Oh, they still won't die! It's just an outrageous amount of lifesteal. Finally, one of them will pop. GG, well played. Good luck in the final. Hamster with class bows out, and that's an Arbuz 2-0. Yeah, that was a good ZVZ. I liked that ZVZ. That was good. We're gonna be going to Zeke picking map 1 versus Arbuz. I've noticed that Arbuz really enjoys desert maps. He picks Germination and he picks Mass Destruction. I know he also picks Frosted Forest, which is like the opposite of a desert. He just likes extreme biomes. So we're going to see about this grand final here in just a moment. Yeah, Green Eggs, there was definitely some interesting action here. Okay, we are going to Impulsion for the grand final. Arbuz needs a minute or two. I will take a short bathroom break myself, so like 2 minutes. I'll be right back. I have returned, as promised. I was just telling Zeke and Arbuz about the 42-minute game in the lower brackets. So caused quite a delay here, but we have arrived at the grand final of Weekendwage 13. We are about to crown a champ. Not in this very map, but pretty soon. And Arbuz Budesh has rolled Protoss in the first map. We are on Impulsion. It is a best of 3. And Zeke is our Zerg player, while Arbuz is our Protoss player. I'm just configuring the overlay real quick, because I like when it's epic. Ladies and gentlemen, Zeke in the top left of Impulsion. His map pick is the Zinwaldite Brown Zerg. And in the bottom right, we have Arbuz Budesh. He is rocking out as the Maya Blue Protoss. The selective random feature is actually something that I feel like a lot of games could benefit from, even if they did only have 3 races. Or, you know, like, if you're a game with 2 races, then random is literally a 50-50 split. But if you have any number of races beyond 2, having the ability to choose which randoms you would like to provide, like to pick from, basically saying, I would like to randomize my race, but I don't want to play Terran, so I'm going to pick Protoss or Zerg. That's basically what Arbuz has done, in addition to also filtering out our 4th race, the Ascozi. I like it. I like it a lot. So, Arbuz is going to be rocking out as a gateway toss here. I'm guessing he's going to go for the 2-gate expand that he did against Grass Eater and see if he can get some antics up with the Zealot Ecclesiast. But Zeke's going to be a tougher nut to crack. Actually, Arbuz has changed the plan entirely. Gateway Rogue Gallery. Now, this could be a Kabbalist expand. I have seen this kind of thing. But with the second gateway, I'm not feeling as much of a certainty about that. It feels like maybe the expansion comes after damage has been dealt. And that's sort of the play here. This doesn't read to me as balls to the wall aggro. You can do like 3-gate Rogue Gallery. That is a possibility. If we see that 3rd gate coming, we know that this is much more of an aggressive, like almost all-in type of play. Zeke is moving across with the Zeths. The single Zealot is here to riposte any initial heckling. Like, he already had his blades out ready to start swiping, so he was prepared, you know. A little bit of micro back and forth here with the Zealot. The Ecclesiast is about to pop out here. Now, Zeke's going to come down here, and I think he does click on that, yeah, and see a Rogue Gallery, so he should be aware. This could be calling for an Ovaleth soon, which kind of does damage to the Zerg regardless of whether or not you send the Kabbalist out. And it is indeed a Kabbalist. Down goes a Scribe, however. Took his hands off the keyboard, well, the Scribe board, for just a moment, and all of a sudden, down a worker. Zeke can be very pernicious with these Zeths. This is quintessential StarCraft 1 ZVP right here. Ecclesiast keeping the shields going. A Warden has been put down in the main base a little bit earlier than Arbuz likely wanted to provide it. Oh! Really annoying. Very good play here from Zeke. Oh, and he gets a Scribe and gets away with it. No way he's going to get another one. Ooh, that's so close. But it does end up surviving. The Ecclesiast shield protection, helping him quite a bit. Kabbalist is going to leave the base. The Zealot will pop it, and we already have the Ovaleth out with Quaz. So, feels like Zeke is pretty well insulated here. Now, the Ovaleth this early does delay an expansion. It's not exactly a no-cost alternative. You don't spawn with a detector in Cosmonarchy. You have to make it, because we don't have supply, so there's no need to spawn with an initial Ovaleth. Down will go the Kabbalist. That's pretty brutal for Arbuz, not having any sort of method of using that later on. Had to be a bit more careful with the Scout. So he's going to go ahead and gear up for an expansion, though he does not have the money right now to do so. He's going to recall his army. A lot of Quaz, some Zeths, and there's the expansion for Zeke. So looking pretty solid there. There's the Nexus. He just cancels, skips one round of production. Actually, I think he might have canceled a couple of units because he got that pretty fast and his structures weren't blinking anymore. So Second Kabbalist on the way. Oh, some of his units are out of position here. That's going to be a dead Ecclesiast for sure. Well, that might have been a few too many mistakes all back to, together here. There's only 2 Ecclesiasts. Good number of Zealots, admittedly. Another Ecclesiast ends up coming up. We've got a Kabbalist here. This is looking pretty deadly. I think Zeke just has way too much mass, and I don't think Arbuz is going to be able to make it happen. He's got his Warden. He's fighting around the Warden. The Scribe's also being pulled away. Now the Quaz trying to deal with those Ecclesiasts, and here comes a Kabbalist to try to maybe see if he can pick a few more units in the process, but he might end up losing his life for it, and they scoop up into the Avaleth on the way out. So, okay. We can avoid the panic stations. I was worried that Arbuz was going to get totally surrounded there, and Zeke does have a lot of combat units ready to go. Puts down the Shroud at 14 Droleth, so down to 13. The Nexus will complete. I don't think Arbuz can move out on the map anytime soon. We already have Vorvs coming. That's actually what I was waiting for this time, is like, okay, are the Vorvs going to show up at some point? Avaleth has returned home, unloaded the Zeths. I think we're going to have like 9 Vorvs, if my count is correct. Yeah, we're going to have 9 Vorvs here. And the Shroud is here as like a backup plan for follow-up, but Arbuz is leaving the building. Avaleth is with him. The Kabbalist will be mulched pretty quickly. There's the first Vorv recorder to be shown, and I think that should be pretty horrifying for Arbuz in a way. Oh, he actually unloads the units over here. There's 3 Claws unloaded in that spot. Down goes the Kabbalist. The Vorvs are going to stick under the back line here. The Claws on the Natural aren't really getting much damage because it's not really that much to damage in that area, but this is an army surround in the making. Great stutter stepping from Arbuz. This is one of his key strengths as a Protoss player, and he popularized this technique, whether it would have been found or not by other players. He really showed the power of Zealot Ecclesiast, and he's not got any Zealots left over, but he is stutter stepping around plenty of times. There's more Zeths where that came from. The Quas have been cleaned up without killing any Scribes, it looks like. But that was a pretty critical loss of units for Arbuz. You know, militarily speaking, he does not have a lot left for him. And he's going to come in here, see Egg, see Shroud, and know that I think the writing is on the wall. He's going to put down some matrices. Feels like the Zerg army is moving in. So before those structures will finish, about 35 seconds for them to complete from the time that they begin. That being said, Vorvs are being made, so there's a waiting game here, and a Kabbalist is maybe going to be able to slink in to finally find some damage in the natural. Arbuz might be able to claw something back in the middle of all of that chaos, and a Bulwark is much needed at this point. No, it looks like Zeke is going to fall back, so this shouldn't do too much damage to him. No, never mind, I tell a lie. He is not going to fall back. You can try to fight this with just your Droleths. I wouldn't recommend it. It looks like Zeke has recognized that he should be able to just bully Arbuz. He's got a Lakers by the front gate. Yeah, Lakers are pretty inefficient at this. Well, he's going to see if he can just dive on in. 1 Matrix is not finished. 2 are going. The Bulwark is there as well. The Lakers end up burrowing. The Vornaths... The Vorvs, rather, this whole composition is definitely going to be able to deal with the ground units that Arbuz has. The Scribes are being pulled. The Matrixes were focusing down one of the Lakers within the detection radius of that Bulwark, so honestly, this is a little bit closer than maybe Zeke was anticipating it being. And the Scribes helping out quite a bit in the process, but we do have another Lakers in the way back, almost like a defensive Lakers, like the way that you would siege 2 phalanx or siege tanks in StarCraft 1. Very similar kind of logic there. Looks like the Kabbalist has been routed in the meanwhile. Don't know how many kills it got. Almost doesn't really seem to matter as there's not that many units left for Arbuz. He's got 2 Drakodins, and there's a flood of Zeth units coming in, pool units in general. Zeth Vorv. We got more Lakers and Quas on the way. A lot of defenses are being erected here. Arbuz wants to hold out. He knows that Zeke doesn't have a humongous economy yet. But 6 Zoryus are coming. The Zeth Vorv come up to intercept anything that would be attacking that Lakers. And now the Scribes are starting to plummet. Margest on the way to try to have that emergency defense. Unitary Union. It's not as dire as maybe it looks, because Arbuz does have that tier 3 tech in production here, and he has managed to warp in more Wardens in the process as well. a pretty loaded up Avaleth here. This could force multiply a little bit, but the third base is up and running as well for Zeke. Lake is coming up. 2 Matrix. Yeah, Arbiz is really trying to just hold out for as long as he can. Zorius are going to make the bust a little bit more possible with their armor end, combining with the Vorvs as well. You put a unit, you put the Warden right up against a Rilla Rokor Death effect and a Vorv Rokor Ensnare, and it's not going to be attacking very quickly. But Arbiz is giving it a go. Here's a Barghest. So Spraith is going to come up. And here comes the attack. The attempt. Going after the pylons. They're kind of bait. They don't actually power anything so far as I can tell. Zorius are trying to make it their way in the back. Zeth4 plus the Rilla Rokors definitely helping out versus the defense. Down will go the Wardens, with the exception of the one in the mineral line. These pool units are taking care of the Gateway army. No questions asked there. And the Scribes are trying to fight, trying to body block, but the last of the Matrixes is dead. He does have some Zealots coming down. An Asciliant will pop out here pretty soon. Down goes the last of the Wardens, however. A Draconin getting popped as well. Bulwarks don't stack, so this is just for redundancy as far as the shield effect is concerned. He's attacking his own Nexus. He doesn't realize it. Okay, he's corrected it. More units coming in. Not really that much yet. We have a lot more coming across the map. And the Lakers are going to be able to feast upon those Zealots. I think this is finally it, especially if that Asciliant goes down. He attacked the Nexus again. Why doesn't he like the Nexus? What's wrong with that? GG. Arbiz has been bested by Zeke. He held on for a long time and made it pretty dangerous, but not even the Barghest could save him. Arbiz picks map 2. I'm sure he'll have his selection ready for us shortly. That is a win for Zeke, and he is now 1 win away from placing at first. Taking $20. Arbiz typically reinvests his dollar, but he would have 15 if he ends up losing any of the next 2 maps, either of the next 2 maps. And Grass has 5, Hamster has 10. So there you go. That's the prize pool. Let's do the Crisis, he says. Crisis Vector on the way. Will he get PVZ again? Here we go. It is time for Crisis Vector. Hey, Arbiz Budesh is Protoss again. He is our Alice Blue Protoss in the top left, and Zeke in the bottom right. Oh, man. Liver? Coral. I guess Coral when it's liver and liver when it's Coral. I should learn that one. But the Coral Zerg in the bottom right is Zeke. Leading the series 1-0. Arbiz is Protoss. We do like ourselves a Protoss. And it looks like it will be the typical gateway start for him. No Vespian Mind for the Lattice. 8 pool for Zeke. Interesting choice. I feel like that's an interesting choice because typically you go for the Larvosk a little bit earlier on. You get the pool early, but maybe not even that early in most builds. So this is what Zeke feels comfy with. He wants to do pool into Larvosk. Maybe be a little bit more aggro in the early stages of the game. And Arbiz is going to be going gateway. I could see him follow it up with a Lattice. We'll find out together. Jebecca in the chat talking about the non-mirror matchup. He must have missed those PVZs that Arbiz played versus Grass Eater. But it is well taken. There's TVT, and before that, there was a lot of ZVZ, and after that, there was even some ZVZ. If Arbiz wins this matchup, he's going to need to roll Protoss again for us so that we can get PVZ Grand Final all the way. Otherwise, the last matchup will be decided as a ZVZ. I would definitely favor... I mean, Zeki's favored no matter what, but I would definitely favor Zeki in ZVZ. I'm glad that we got to see Zeki versus Arbuz, though, even though I would have been fine with a Zeki-Hamster rematch. Hamster had already played a best-of-3 against Zeki, right? So we get to see the full breadth of Zeki versus the top guys. Before the ZVZ that he played against Grass Eater, Zeki also played against George. And a similarly lengthed, like 11-minute game in that case. So he had some ZVZ warm-ups before Hamster in that way. Hamster also had a ZVZ warm-up in the form of Arbuz rolling Zerg in the Serenity match, and that was 6-pull versus 6-pull. That was very funny. Defensive opening here with Ecclesias before Zealot out of the 2 gateway, and the 4 Zeths are just here to see if they can run around and do some damage. You know, go after some scribes again. Very similar to that last game. I'm not even, I was just trying to, I went quiet because I was thinking about shield battery and whether it has selective random. I'm guessing not, but I honestly don't know. They've got a lot of pretty impressive infrastructure there, so it wouldn't necessarily surprise me. Double Larvosk into Vornath for Zeke. He's got an idle worker as well, but that's okay. That's just an adornment, an ornament. Obviously, Zeke can be very deadly with the pool flood into Vorvs. And he doesn't have a tremendous amount of gas mining right now, so we can guess that he's not banking on the Kalkir Lake anytime soon. The reason why is because not only does it cost gas, but all of the units you make from it, the Kalkalisk and the Lyrilisk, cost gas. So his Avaleth is here for a drop. He's going to make a lot of Quas, and he's going to make a lot of Vorvs. 4 Vorvs on the way already in the natural. Sees that this move out is coming. I think he's going to have more than enough to deal with it, but it will somewhat come down to Arbuz's micro. This is also good practice for Arbuz. There's a lot of Zergs in Tribunal 5, so I'm assuming at some point he's going to have to go up against that kind of opposition. Yeah, his opening is versus a Zerg, so there you go. He guaranteed he's going to play some versus Zerg, so should be happy with this kind of practice, you know? Already falling back as he sees the first Vorv, Bulwark coming down. Does he have a ward in the mineral line? Already does. So no worries in the main base at the very least. Unless a really concentrated force ends up coming in. And the Avaleth is coming out for detection just in case there was a snuck rogue gallery, but instead it's going to be a play towards Ardent, and the Avaleth will be used to drop the main base. Now, what does he have in here? 6 Quas. So that's not very good versus Warden, but it can definitely cause disrupted mining time. Now, here we go. The Vorv's getting jumped on a little bit here. Not exactly what Zeke wants to be seeing. Zealot's getting a ton of free hits there. Wow. That's a lot of dead Vorvs. But the army is also pretty far away to help out with the drop here. So, yeah, 2 Zealots is actually enough to deal with 6 Quads, believe it or not, but, you know. This is still going to cause some distraction, and we did get a unit flood in the meanwhile. Zeke doesn't have his natural just yet. Shroud placed. If he loses this army in the middle, Arbuz is in a lot of trouble. So he does need to respect that while the Quas are distracting his attention, sapping at his periphery. Fallen Zealot. Ardent Authority will finish up. Far more defensible position for Arbuz in that kind of regressed posture. Zeke is aware of how difficult it can be to kind of do a surround for this position. He wants to give it a go, though. He thinks he's got the power. Maybe he can also go ahead and drop the Quas in the background there, try to wall them in. Oh, wow, that's actually very effective. The Zeths and the Vorvs crashing upon the Zealots. The Bulwark is not sufficient to help them out. And now the Ecclesias are going to get stuck on before the Cantor can even pop, and even once it does, there's plenty of units here. We got more units coming, a bunch of Quas pushing forward. Zeke is on the precipice of victory right against his opponent's natural here as more units are coming down, mostly battle workers. GG has to be called as the Cantor reveals itself for just a moment. And that, my friends, is a GG. Well, Zeki's the best gamer. That's all I've been telling you guys this whole damn time. 2-0 for Arbuz, rolling Protoss, and then Zerg. 2-0 for him against Hamster as well. And now a 2-0 for Zeki, halting the lower bracket run of Arbuz Budash in the grand final to get that lion's share of the prize money. And of course, the respect of gamers worldwide. Guys, that concludes Weekendwage. We've got a couple of games that at some point I would like to take a look at. I kind of want to see how George fared versus Zeki to begin with. And the follow-up Hanmano versus George as well. Might have been a pretty good one. I don't know what happened with the Monozyte game. That was pretty wild. The prize money will be sent out shortly. And I am going to go and prepare for some tabletop action pretty soon. So see you guys next time. I'll try to come on stream Monday so I can get some of those Acropolis Tribunal matches casted for you guys. And we will see a little bit more later on. So, peace.